Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to J is for Justice. I am your host, Jay, and hopefully you can hear me all right. Let me know in chat if my sound is okay. If you guys take a minute right now and hit that like button. And if you want more notifications, make sure that you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell that is full. That's like colored in because it's weird. Like YouTube makes it so hard. Like just make it on or off, but you have to click the one that says all notifications or they're just going to pick and choose what they want to send you. So good Friday, everybody. I have a very special guest that I'm bringing on. We're going to be talking about Delphi today and a case out of Kentucky. Okay. And we're going to talk about that, but we're going to go over some of the updates the state has responded to the defense about the Odinism things. So I wanted to go over that really fast before we get into the Stevenson case. So welcome, everybody. I see a lot of members in chat. Let's bring Nils on. We've got Nils with us today. He's not at the mic yet. He's taking care of some last minute business. So now is a perfect time. Hit that like button. And let's get our first article of business ready. So Richard Allen is going to be in court actually on Monday, you guys. And then again on Halloween. Freaking Halloween of all days. What's happening, Nils? I've got my special cup. So I figured since I can't hear you though.
How's that?
It's perfect now.
Okay, there we go.
So since last time you had like such a special cup, I thought I had to show you my special cup.
Oh, yeah?
So it's not a horn, but a very special person. One of my mods, Shell, sent this to me, and this is me and my granddaughter. And it says Sophia and Gammy. Isn't that cute?
I love that.
And then on the other side is another picture of her.
Oh,
yes.
she's
So
adorable.
I can't say that, I can't cry about not having a horn cup because I have this one. Right?
That's right.
How can you compare that to a horn? It is. It is. So how you been?
Actually, I've been sick for the past few days.
Oh, no.
Since about Monday. So it's just a cold. It's just a seasonal cold. So I'm slowly getting over it. I might sound rough today, but I was actually just coughing over the past 4 days. So
oof, that's the worst too, especially when it keeps you up at night.
Yep. So I broke out some of the herbal medicines here and to knock it out of me.
What'd you take? We always want to know your concoctions.
So there's nettle pot, stinging nettle. We make a tea from it. Cinnamon, ginger, especially ginger is very beneficial. Honey is the key though. Honey. So I've made a few teas with honey.
Honey's a good one.
Yes. And that's about this. St. John's wort a little bit to help, but yeah, mainly nettle, tea, and honey.
But you keep your immunities up by taking care of yourself in between your sicknesses, right? So you're able to kind of combat it easier, I think, than most. Because like a lot of us don't, we're like, oh, we're sick, we better go get vitamins and start pounding vitamin C and all that, where you're a maintenance kind of person. You stay on top of it. I'm guilty of that. Like I'll have like this, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to take vitamins or whatever. So I'll get them and then I hate taking them. So then I end up not taking them and it's a waste of money and they just sit there.
Yeah, it's very important to to stay healthy, exercise, and keep up and build your immune system up. And the certain foods too absolutely help. So instead of going out and just eating junk processed foods all the time, you're going to get sick. Your body's going to get sick.
Mm-hmm. You can say that
It just
again, and
really
some of
is.
us get thicker than others at times.
Hmm.
Healing Time says honey from your local environment is the best.
Yes, yes, especially for allergies.
I
Especially
was
for
gonna say
allergies.
I've heard that. Is it because the pollen has like whatever locally is in your air? I mean, it kind of makes
Yes,
sense.
yeah, where they collect the local pollen, local allergens, and stuff like that for part of their process for making honey. You already have it into your system, so your body can recognize that year to year. Your immune system will recognize that your T cells and such,
Hmm.
and
What happens if you move a lot?
it'll help. Or if you travel. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess you're
yeah.
shit out of luck.
I always keep an emergency supply, a small jar with me when we go somewhere, just in case.
Interesting. Always love your tidbits. I've got a tidbit for you. So this is the update since we last talked, and you may or may not have already know this, but I haven't covered it yet. I don't know if you know the next step. So the Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen is due in court in Allen County, which is not the county he's charged in. It's weird.
Mm.
So it says Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen will appear in court next week, which is this coming week, for a newly scheduled hearing. So this is like a status conference where they're like, okay, where are we at? And it says this one will be held at the Allen County Courthouse, unlike the others. They have been directed, the attorneys for the defense and prosecution have been directed to arrange their schedules. So it sounds like maybe since that last thing was put out that the judge was like, clear your schedules because we need to reconvene.
Yes, and move his ass.
Yeah. So it says, according to the court, the purpose of the proceeding is to discuss an upcoming Halloween, October 31st hearing and other matters which have recently arisen.
Mm.
The court will prepare a transport order so Allen can be moved from the Westville Correctional Facility to the courthouse. So then it says also earlier this week, Special Judge Fran Gull ordered the state to turn over all discovery evidence by November 1. The Carroll County Prosecutor's Office had no objection to the deadline. The prosecution also filed its response to the allegations regarding Allen's treatment in prison and the defense's contention that guards overseeing Allen are linked to a movement known as Odinism. Now, this is where they talk about these patches. In September, Allen's attorneys laid out an alternative theory claiming the murders of Abby and Libby were ritualistic in nature. Their filing also accused guards of being part of a white supremacist group and pointed to patches on their uniforms as evidence. The defense alleged mistreatment and intimidation. In its response, the state said the guards wore patches that could have been misinterpreted. In sworn affidavits, the guards denied being part of any cult or white supremacist group. In separate filings, Allen's lawyers asked the court to toss out the search warrant and motion for Gull to quash subpoenas from the state, seeking Allen's medical and mental health records from his time in captivity. And then here's more on these patches. And this is where they get into detail because they were wearing patches. So they did talk to these correctional officers. So it says here, according to the documents, the prosecutor spoke with 2 correctional officers at Westville, who the defense team claims have ties to Odinism. Both correctional officers reportedly denied practicing Odinism, but admitted to wearing patches on their uniforms that can be, but they said are not, associated with Odinism. So it's like, yeah, we have patches. They could be related to Odinism, but that's not why we're wearing them. The correctional officers allegedly said they stopped wearing the patches on their uniforms last month when they were asked to remove them. One of the correctional officers reportedly said Norse paganism heathenry is his practicing religion, which is you, right?
Yes.
Both correctional officers have also claimed they are not part of a cult or a radical hate group. According to the documents, both correctional officers said they never threatened Alan and never had a one-on-one conversation with Alan about Odinism. One of the correctional officers reportedly told prosecutors he went above and beyond not to use any kind of force on Alan, even though there have been times when use of force was justified by standard operating procedures. That correctional officer told prosecutors that Alan was tased twice between May 9th and May 25th because he did not comply with the officer's orders. This is crazy. What are you thinking so far, Nils?
It sounds catchy. Like, I don't know that he backtracked, but not everybody who wears a patch that says "An Odin We Trust" is an Odinist. Um, by to an extent, by religious exemption, they can wear those type of patches, but most actually, I'm not going to say most don't, but some don't wear those patches. Some do, some don't. So I couldn't give you a statistic on that, but very rarely have I seen Norse pagans that actually wear patches or the Velcro patches or things like that.
And isn't it kind of odd too, the part where they're like, oh, now they're not wearing them. They were asked to remove them. Like, why were they on there in the first place then?
Yeah, exactly. And why were they assigned specifically to Richard Allen?
Right. So are you thinking like, because they're claiming that they're not part of any white supremacist group, that they're
Mhm.
like you, that they come
Yeah.
in peace. This is just their beliefs and this is what they believe in. Do you believe them? Or because this whole Odinism thing in prisons is huge.
Yes, it is on both sides with CEOs and with prisoners. So they might be trying to backtrack on that, especially after the state attorney general's office, I guess, asked for information for the case. Since it's now gained
Mm.
national attention, they're trying to clean it up, and plus moving him to another county. It seems like they're trying to clean up something that's going on in that county before they move him to Allen County. So there you go. Yeah, there's one of them.
You can see it. Oh, okay, yeah, on the right here, right? The big one?
Mhm. Yeah.
What do those, triangles mean?
Those triangles are oh my gosh, you caught me when I can't remember the specific name for those.
It's okay.
But it's representative as a symbol of Odin. It has different meanings. Asgard, Midgard.
I think
Uh,
that was the one they showed in the Discovery was one like
as-
that. I don't know if it was identical, but
yeah, some say it's a
pretty close.
geometric symbol of the world tree because of those three triangles together. It's got 9 points, which represent the 9 realms as well.
You know what I really hate? I hate that they've done this to your beliefs.
Yeah,
I hate that they've made people look at this and question people like you.
yeah. It's now locally. There's there's no one that's like going after pagans or anything. As far as I know, in Indiana, even there's no one going after any type of pagans. But this type of year is big for us. One of our biggest holidays is coming up at the end of the month. So normally it's just a local few Christian pastors and stuff will try to get people together and come out and break up any rituals that we do in the forest or things like that. Um, but since this case has gained national attention, it's kind of put a target on pagans. So now you have to wonder the ones that are doing peaceful harvest transition rituals this time of year versus something that's going on with the Delphi case. It's going to make a lot of people that aren't familiar with our belief very nervous, and we understand that.
It's just too bad. I mean, I'm really sorry about that because, you should feel comfortable and not have people, kind of side eyeing you like, is he evil or is he kind?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Does he eat babies and run around the woods naked, covered in red
Yeah,
and black
drain blood
paint, and
from people and yeah,
yeah, then and worship Satan? And no, we don't do any of that. As a matter of fact, in our belief, we don't even believe in Satan.
I love that because I don't like focusing on Satan.
Yeah, we don't do human sacrifices, and then we don't do animal sacrifices.
I
The
just,
only
I,
animals,
go ahead.
the closest thing to an animal sacrifice we do is what everybody does on every holiday. So, ham for Christmas, we call it Yule ham,
Mhm.
and turkey for Thanksgiving, for American Thanksgiving. That's the closest animal sacrifice, is just a feast.
Right, for food,
Yeah.
which is what if we all eat meat, that's exactly what happens at some point in time. So the last part of this is the warden. We got the warden responding now. So according to WTHR, the prosecutor also spoke with the acting warden of Westville, who said correctional officers were allowed to wear any patches on their vests until the allegations made by the defense team. So there's our answer. That's why they're not wearing them anymore, because of this being brought up. The warden also reportedly said the facility offers religious services if there are at least 5 people who practice the religion in the complex. And the facility has never held services related to Odinism. And it says
Hmm.
Odinism. But why would they hold Odinism things in the prison?
I could
People
believe
who
the prisoners doing something, um, maybe with or without the CEOs, for a holiday. I could see them doing some type of holiday ritual
Mm. Well, they do
during summer.
admit there are Odinists in the prison. So they say the warden also reportedly said that none of the quote, very few inmates that practice Odinism are housed with or next to Alan. So they're saying he doesn't even have that, example or influence.
Hmm.
Hmm. But they're admitting that there are people that believe in Odinism that are in that facility. So they're not denying it.
Oh yeah.
Prosecutors' response to defense motion to transfer Allen. So this is about moving him. Allen's defense team previously filed an emergency motion to move their client in April. So it's interesting that they filed the motion in April and then he was disobeying in May and having to get tased twice, acting out. And then it says also that
Hmm.
the prosecutor says Allen is being treated more favorably than other inmates in Westville. And the defense's last motion accuses the 2 correctional officers at Westville of, quote, unjust and inhumane treatment. So not only are they Odinists, but they're treating him unjustly and inhumanely. According to the prosecutor, Allen would be placed in the same kind of holding cell he is in now if he was moved to the Cass County Jail. The prosecutor also claims the Indiana Department of Correction is more equipped to transport Allen back and forth to court dates to keep him safe and ensure he makes it to all hearings. So then they have, like I said before, till November 1st to turn over all the discovery.
Yeah. I think they need to get him out of there fast.
It doesn't sound like they're going to.
Hmm. Yeah, they need to. They need to get him moved fast.
Listen to this part. According to the prosecutor, when the state filed charges against Allen, the discovery was not in a format that could easily be provided to the defense, which the prosecutor clarified as all the paper documents had to be copied and scanned, and all the external hard drives and reports from law enforcement had to be collected. The state is asking the court to require the defense team to turn over any evidence they get and not dump all the evidence on the state on November 1st. So, and he's set to go to trial in January. This is going to be crazy.
Ooh.
Look at that. I get the craziest ads. It knows my dog is itchy. It knows I'm overweight. It knows, I don't know. It's weird. AI is weird. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
so that's the latest on the Delphi. Do you have any thoughts on that before we move into the weirdness?
Well, I think it's interesting. They found the mystery professor now.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about the mystery
Yes.
professor. Who is he?
Professor Turco. Um, I'm actually trying to look up his name now. So yeah, he's at Purdue. Apparently, he is well renowned. I'm not going to say among our community, but I'm trying to bring up his website right now.
Yeah, you're fine. Teresa
There it
has a
is.
question. If it was Odinus that did this, wouldn't they be happy Alan is taking the fall?
Yes, normally, unless he is one.
Unless he is one.
Yes, unless he truly is one.
And we have no way of knowing. I hope to God they have cameras in this courtroom.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to share? Are you on a computer?
Yeah, I'm on the laptop.
Do you want to share your screen? Or
I guess I can.
do you see where it says present? If you want to share whatever you have pulled up, you can just share
No,
it.
this is, I got it on the phone right here.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to see if I can get so it's Jeffrey Turco. He's the associate professor of German studies um, and religious studies at Purdue University. He's written a book, actually. He's well versed on Old Norse, Icelandic, and Old Germanic literature. He actually wrote a book on that. So I could see that's why they went to him for that information.
And he's from
Uh,
Germany.
no, not originally. No,
Oh, okay.
he's
That's
from
his thing.
yeah. He's taught in Canada. He's taught at Cornell University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what was his
Um,
determination then? Was it Odinism or was it not? Do we
well, what
know?
I have, and it was sent to me by text um, from guidance, actually, and via Sleuthy. Apparently, there was a over hour long uh, taped statement, I guess deposition from him, and how the runes were involved. And it says that there was a magical significance and would be used in incantations and rituals, and that there is a sacrificial connection and mythological poetry. Um, and he basically states the same thing that we believed in our opinion, that um, according to Turco's audio deposition, that whoever did this was some type of Odin fanboy.
Wannabe.
Yep. Because the evidence that he reviewed looked just as that. And it said that someone was trying to replicate a Germanic runic script, but didn't basically know what they were doing. And he had consulted with a colleague from Harvard who had more knowledge on the runes. And the Harvard professor was in agreement with Turco.
So two of them.
Yeah.
And that's pretty extensive to go to another professional and then to have them both. It's kind of like when you have something wrong with you physically and you go to a couple doctors and you get the same diagnosis,
Yeah.
Yikes.
Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that although he could not necessarily interpret these runes, that the stick configurations were clearly runic, and that he could certainly imagine that this was somebody's idea, that when you do human sacrifice, you carve runes. So,
I have a question. If this
yeah.
was staged to look like it was Odinism, but it really wasn't, like, let's say, just hypothetically speaking, that Richard Allen knew there was a presence of Odinism in the town, and he thought, well, a way to get away with it is to kind of, put it on this guy or whatever, on these people, and like quickly look up, this is what they do, da 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 da. We're hearing though that there was like a lot of blood, like the body was drained. And I don't know
Mm,
if that means bled out, because usually you hear the person bled out, right? Which means they had a wound that just bled out. But when
yeah.
they say drained, but I don't know if that's coming from the defense. But when we get into this next case of the Stevensons, same thing. So
Hmm.
would someone who's going to copycat like do that? I mean, I guess it would depend on if it's factual or not that she was drained of her blood or if she just bled out. But like Potato said, with a neck wound, it's likely that, you would bleed out.
Yeah, any arterial wound, it'll do that, and especially, if it's not intentionally to bleed someone out, whatever position the body is lying on, the blood will pool. It'll collect to that
Yeah.
side of the body, the back, the chest, the sides, and it's called pooling. Literally, we see it in the ER all the time with patients that come in and maybe they were down or they were in cardiac arrest, and we can tell how long they have been down if from the pooling. We could tell in EMS as well. So if
Yeah.
all that blood collected like on their back and they were laying on their back, then we're like, okay, yeah, there's no perfusion. Obviously, their heart stopped.
And you can
But we
tell
could
when
tell
they're
that they
moved
were,
too because of that.
yeah,
Like, when they die, their blood pools, and then if they're moved around, they can tell by that where the blood pooled, like, right after they were lying there for a minute, because it's
yes,
not gonna, like, shift around, right?
yes, and that's how actually we recognize many crime scenes here. In EMS on duties, we'll walk in and they'll say, well, they were laying face down, but we'll see like pulling on the back of them, which it just looks like that whole side of the body is purple. And then, like we had one case, it's done now, but they had flipped the patient over before we got there, and we could tell. We were like, no, they were laying on their back. No, man, I came in and found them like this lying on their face, and
Mhm.
we're like, no. So we notified law enforcement, and it ended up being a murder scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
But those are the telltale signs that they look for, to see if something's staged. So, when they say something is staged, they know it's staged.
Hmm.
It's not just, "Oh, I did this and, stabbed them or whatever I did, and then just they dropped and I ran."
Yeah,
And
they
it's
would.
weird.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the investigators, the Trooper Holman and the others that were out there on that case, would know uh, what was staged and what wasn't at the scene, especially with the position of the bodies and everything, and the girls' clothes swapped and all of that.
Yeah. So, I wonder too if, like, why did the prosecution, so they're gonna have to, like, explain if the defense is bringing this professor into it. I feel like the prosecution is gonna have to explain why they dismissed him and the Harvard guy.
Yeah, what the real interesting question is this trooper or these officers, deputies that found them and saw all of this and took the pictures of the crime scene. How did they identify that this was probably Norse runic scripts or whatever, or somebody trying to piece that together to contact Professor Turco? That's the interesting part, is who out of them recognized that this is Old Norse, um,
Yeah, who sought him
not
out
literature,
to get
but
his
symbols.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Who recognized out of that group of investigators?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Because they can't really say, "Oh, hey, it was just twigs that fell." Because if it was just, well, I guess they could say we were just covering all bases, but they just brought up Odinism just to mark that off the list? I mean, that doesn't
Exactly.
seem
Yes,
likely.
yes. And here it is blowing up on crime TV shows and YouTube shows and stuff like that. But which one said, "Hey, this looks like this is Old Norse stuff," and then boom, all of a sudden it's Odinist.
Mhm.
So
So that's gonna be really interesting because 'cause we're gonna break into this first article, and this is what's crazy, Nils, is that, let's get this up here, that this happened a while back. So this is Bill and Peggy Stephenson. Now bear with me, guys. Like I say to them, hear me out, because they think I'm crazy sometimes. But this was just published on March 6th of this year.
hmm,
But these people were killed in 2011, Bill and Peggy Stephenson. So before we get into the relations, that didn't sound right. A couple months ago, actually like 3 or 4 months ago, I put together a video on this case because I was going to put it in my Patreon and I just never did. Other things came up. So I wanted to play that video. It's like 10 minutes long, but it gives you, like, I give like a rundown on this case, and then we can kind of scroll through these articles and see if there's anything in there that I didn't have in this video, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Are you down?
I'm down. Let's do this.
He's down. Let's do it. All right. You have to let me know if you can hear. because sometimes we have that issue. So let me know if you have audio. Did you hear it?
No.
Can you not hear that?
No.
You can't. Why does it do this?
I think it's StreamYard.
Could you see it?
Yeah, I could see it. I just couldn't.
But you couldn't
I
hear it.
couldn't hear any audio off of it. Yeah.
I wonder if I can. How else can I bring it in here?
I'm going to check the
Video
audio settings on
file.
here.
Let's see. No, it's definitely not you though. I have this
No, I was going to
problem.
echo cancellation. I don't have the background
Oh, I
noise
got it.
turned on.
I got it. Hold on.
Nice.
How do I pause it? Okay. Yeah, there's controls. All right. So this is, like I said, this is something I put together. You could hear that just now, right? Let's check. Could you hear that?
Yes,
The
I heard
music?
that.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. All right. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, this is the case Bill and Peggy Stephenson out of Kentucky from 2011. This is something that has been associated with Delphi in the past. So that's why we're going to talk about it. So let's watch. And don't laugh at me. Peggy Stephenson were found murdered inside their home located in Florence, Kentucky. If anyone has driven down I-75 right when you get out of Cincinnati, Ohio, you drive through Florence, Kentucky, and there's a big water tower right off the side of I-75, and it says Florence, y'all. If you've driven by, you know. You just don't forget it. Now, that's where they lived. Small town of Florence, Kentucky. But this is where it gets weird. So they didn't show up for church at the Sunday service because William, he ran a chapel at a truck stop. Can't make this up. Discussing this on Reddit, and people are like, what's the big deal? There's chapels everywhere for different walks of life. I just think this shit is weird, okay? And I'll tell you why. Was there like a shortage of chapel? I mean, is this something that really happens? Like, is there clergy in truck stops across the nation? Because I've never heard of such. I want to say now that in the last 4 months, I have learned that they are all over in truck stops. So this is my ignorance. I had no idea that truck stop chapels existed and that they were actually a big thing. Okay, so he was a member of the Union Baptist Church. They both were, actually. They were members of the Union Baptist Church. But he also, Bill, did Sunday service at the Truckers Chapel. And it was located at the Travel America truck stop in Florence for many years. And when Bill was murdered, someone else took over the chapel. So there's someone else running the Trucker Chapel at the Travel America truck stop in Florence. I've never heard of there being a chapel for truck drivers. I know that there's a lot of really good guys that are truck drivers, but I also know that that is a way that people traffic children as well.
Yeah.
So this gets even more disturbing. They have had 2 So that is the thing, Daisy. Yes, Samantha, you got the right case. Okay, so there was 2 full-time detectives that have been working the case. And get this, they have traveled to several states to investigate several different leads. So you've got truck drivers from all over the country. You've got these 2 that end up murdered. And I'm glad you told me that, Daisy. I feel better about that. Because I was like, oh my God, is this like some kind of a ring? You just never know. You never know. Now, their nephew unalived someone in Indiana after their death, like 3 years after they died. And we're gonna deep dive this mofo on Wednesday evening in Patreon. We have to. It's too weird not to. But at any rate, detectives have interviewed over 200 people in this investigation and collected DNA from several people affiliated with the case. The Kentucky State Police Crime Lab in Frankfort, Kentucky recently discovered an unidentified DNA profile. This DNA profile was found in multiple locations at the crime scene. The Boone County Sheriff's Department released this information on August 30th, 2012, at a press conference held in front of the building where the murders were committed. Detectives now have the genetic profile of the person responsible for the murder and will continue their aggressive search for the killer. Now, this is from, 2012. But they have this DNA. So I'm wondering, you guys, with all of this genetic testing that's being done, you can join my Patreon for $4.99 a month. That is the cheapest tier. And you get your money's worth, I promise. But, it's crazy. So this guy unalived these people. I guess they were bludgeoned and stabbed. And then every single room in the entire house was staged. And it was kind of set up like pictures of people, and they're not giving details. They're keeping a lot of this, most of this, to where they and the perpetrator are the only ones who know.
Sound familiar?
So, but they did say that there was pictures that were moved, arranged in a way, like, I like this person, I don't like this person. So, was it a family member? I don't know. But let's talk about the nephew. Okay? And we'll go deeper on Wednesday.
We never did.
Let's talk about the nephew and what he did.
Sorry
and
for
everybody
the
on
pauses.
Reddit that I've run into that knows these people said that this man was the sweetest man. They were 74 years old. It is really creepy. All right, so then here is what the nephew did. So the Stevenson's nephew, and his name, I had to look up his name because I couldn't remember. Charles Robert Stevenson. He is facing, okay, so he unalived Aurora resident Lee Jennings, who was 67 years old. And he was questioned following the aunt and uncle's murders, but Charles Stevenson has not been charged in connection with them. And they say that the nephew's DNA doesn't match, so it wasn't him. There were Wiccan things left there, and it's rumored that they were also left at Delphi as well. That there were some Wiccan references.
I didn't know then.
Left at that scene and this scene. So this Stevenson's nephew, you guys, you would think it would make sense. Like, he did it, right? That he did it because he just unalived this other lady a few years later that was 67 years old. But he didn't. It's not his DNA. So Lee Jennings, Leigh, it's a female, Lee Jennings, and that was in Dearborn County. I think it's Ohio. But he unalived her
using a pepper grinder and a skillet.
Horrible.
A pepper
Wow.
grinder and a skillet.
Right?
So we're going to get into the Nephew's case. We're going to deep dive the Stevenson couple case, see what's going on with that. Let's look up this chapel, see what it's all about, see who's running it now. Maybe we can talk to them about this case and get some information out there. The Cox County, I think it's Cox. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Cox. Detective Cox. He's done podcasts. He's like all about getting this information out there. If you go to the Boone County Sheriff's Office website, they literally have this story right on their website. They want to catch this mofo. They want to catch him. So it's crazy that their nephew did this horrific thing, but he didn't do it to them. He didn't do it to them. So who did? You know, and that's why I'm asking, like, is Richard Allen part of something else? Like, I don't know.
This
Did
was
Richard
4
Allen, was
months
he a
ago.
truck driver at some point? I don't know.
Well,
Did he always work at CVS? When did Richard Allen go to school to be a pharmaceutical assistant? That's what I'd like to know. Because, you know, you have to get certified for that. So when did Richard Allen go to school? Was it later in life? You know what I mean? What was he doing before that? Could he have possibly been a truck driver? I don't know.
Could have been.
It just seems odd
We don't
because
know.
these people only live like 3.5 hours from Delphi.
200 miles.
3.5 hours. Even though it's Kentucky, it's super close. Like, it's super close to the Ohio line. And then I think about Keegan Kline and his dad and Mark Kline in chat. I'm just kidding.
Mark Kline. Poor Mark.
Mark's going to kill me. Just kidding.
One of my
Bad
listeners.
choice of words. Shit.
Mark Kline. Okay, so that. Sorry that plug on. But I didn't want to redo
No,
it
no,
because I
that's
had already put
interesting.
that together. Let's get one of these articles up because there's a lot more information that I found. I sent you one of the articles. It's nuts.
I will
when we
say
get
this
into
though,
that- Mhm.
because not many people know this, that and then I know there's a lot of focus on Indiana right now, but in Kentucky, in this region of the United States, there are a lot of pagans in Kentucky. A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Don Spain says, what about Richard Allen working at Chrysler and the National Guard? I've never heard that. I don't know a lot about Richard Allen.
I have
do
to
miss
ask
Richard.
women
Go
a
ahead.
question real quick.
Mhm.
So, because she was talking about the long haul and the village, and we one of the, how about say groups, it's classified as a church in America, but it's not a church. But anyways, there were one of the organizations belonged to one of the communities. We go to a long haul in Ohio, normally in the spring. They just did a wedding there not too long ago. They helped officiate a wedding. So is it the one in Peebles, Ohio?
The one what? Oh, you're asking her?
Yes, because women are sacred. If it's the same one, then she has probably met me.
He's asking where in Ohio. Yep. She said, yes,
It's
sir.
the
That's
same
the
one.
one.
Yes.
You guys know each
So
other?
last spring and this spring, I was there. Yeah, we met each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we that's where we go for our spring gathering, and we were there. Beautiful, beautiful
cool.
hall, beautiful place.
I love it.
See,
How
we do
cool
know
is
each other. Yeah,
that?
we do know each
Wow.
other. So yeah, they know Nils.
That's crazy. She's like, yes.
That's it. Yep. It's 90 minutes away from me. 90 minutes away.
That's really cool. That's really
Actually,
cool.
one of my first videos, the very first video I did is it actually shows a group of us on Friday night. It's Friday or Saturday night, and we're inside the hall singing songs. One of our members, we have a lot of musicians too, so he had his guitar. We're just singing singing songs and playing music and drinking mead around. Inside the hall, they have these little gas fireplaces, and we're just
Nice.
sitting around it, just singing, just relaxing
Gosh, that sounds really nice.
and having a good time. Yeah.
How cool. Very
So
small
yeah,
world.
it's a beautiful place. Yeah,
Hey,
it's
Nils,
a very beautiful
can I
place.
test
So
something on you right now? Can I play a sound bite and
yeah,
tell me if you hear it? I want to just see if I did it right. You ready?
okay, yeah.
I am here to help you learn.
Shut up, Amica.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
You did hear it? Okay, because I can't hear it, but I know you guys can. Let me know in chat if you heard it too.
It's in the water.
I have a soundboard and I play sound bites like periodically during the live. So if you hear one go off, that's what it is.
Oh, I loved it yesterday from the Tim Ferritter case. I was cracking up.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that's over. The JLR, that doesn't get old. I watched it this morning again. I'm like,
Yeah. Yes,
great.
I so wanted. I don't mean to get off track, but I so loved. I hope he makes that into some type of merch, that slogan. I do today.
I do today. I do today.
Yep.
That was the best. I think I accidentally deleted it.
But
Did.
when
I'm
that
gonna
woman
make it
said,
back up here. Funny.
we're normal media," I was like, I just started laughing. You
He
don't
was
run the
great.
show. I do today.
I do today.
Mhm.
And they're like, what? So it was really funny because we're on Discord and Jammers sent it. I think it was Jammers. It was one of the mods sent an article with that lady, and she did a video from court. And she's like, it's the pink shirt lady. And I'm like, wow, she really is media. She's not a lunch lady. It was hysterical. Always breaking up the monotony. I think we needed that because that Ferritter case was pretty heavy. Got to cut loose a little bit because that one was bad. But, I really think that we saw justice before our eyes in that case. Ha, JLR for YouTube president. I just know that they saw his shirt. He wears media and he's got media on his hat. And it's like they see him coming and they all like run from him. All right. So here is the article on Peggy and Bill Stephenson. All right. And there's two of them
Muted.
here.
I'm muted.
No, you're not. I think it's just because you were quiet for a second.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
this one came out first. So this is the couple. And see, they've got Richard Allen right there. Chilling connection, eerie link between Delphi murders and unsolved Stevenson killings looked into by cops shocked by gruesome scene. So Bill and Peggy Stephenson, that's them. They were bludgeoned and stabbed on May 29th, 2011. And then it says police in Kentucky are exploring whether their deaths could be linked to the 2017 murders of Libby German and Abigail Williams. Okay, so the bodies of the beloved couple who were considered pillars of their local community had been posed in separate rooms, and the crime scene was elaborately staged. Boone County Detective Coy Cox told the U.S. Sun the crime scene was unlike anything he'd seen before during his decades-long career in law enforcement, revealing that pretty much everything inside the home had been meddled with in some capacity. He said, I've seen some pretty gruesome things, but I've never seen a crime scene like that before. Isn't that crazy? It was staged in almost every way that you could think possible. I don't want to elaborate too much, but things were moved and turned over. Now listen to this part, Nils. Things had been touched on bookshelves and in cabinets, and things had been rearranged on the refrigerator. And then it says, and then the victims, things had been laid around them and on top of them. We didn't have a crime scene. We had a scene the killer or killers wanted us to find. Few details have been shared by the police about the Stevenson murders over the last 12 years. but they confirmed that they discovered DNA evidence and they're working to identify it. Hundreds of suspects and persons of interest have been screened, but no breakthrough. So here it says the investigation took an interesting turn in November last year when Cox and his partner Tim Adams received a tip claiming the Stevensons' deaths may be linked to the murders of 2 girls. Now, isn't that when Alan was arrested, was in November? Weird. So Alan gets arrested and then they get a tip in Kentucky that the Stevensons might be related to the Delphi murders. So it says, like the Stevenson case, few details have been shared by investigators, but the girls' bodies are understood to have been posed and both had lost a lot of blood. According to Cox, the tipster listed a series of reasons why the culprit behind the Delphi murders is the same person who did the Stevenson murders. The tip did not concern Richard Allen, who was arrested and charged with the murders of Abby and Libby. He was arrested in October, a month before the tip came in, Cox said. However, investigators in Delphi said they have reason to believe Allen was allegedly not the only actor involved in the girls' deaths and are currently looking into other potential suspects. Then we have this, Nils, we have this sketch that doesn't even look like the same. It's not the same person. They come out with another sketch 3 years later. Weird. What the hell's going on?
I wonder if it's a serial killer.
Right. I mean, did Richard Allen even do it at this point? Like, this is just so weird. Declining to specify who the tipster accused of carrying out both double murders, Cox said the information pointed investigators towards, quote, a specific person who had a specific item that they were interested in. Cox refused to specify what that item was and how it apparently links both crime scenes. But he recently traveled to northern Indiana to interview the person in question, describing them as being very cooperative with the probe. We went up there and did our homework, following him around, looking for things, collecting all the information and evidence that we would need to at least vet him as best we could with our case. At some point in time, we made contact with the individual, and he was very cooperative. We actually gained the information and the evidence that we needed at this point in time, and he gave us a good reason as to why that item may have existed. Cox said they don't currently consider the individual a suspect, but they're keeping all things open. And then it says Boone County cops are also keeping an open mind to the idea that the murders of Libby and Abby could be linked to the brutal deaths of the Stevensons through some other aspect. He said there's yet to be an aha moment to definitively link the two. But in the last 24 hours, Cox said him and Adams have received more than 20 Delphi-related tips, a handful of which contain promising information. The tips that we have received in the last 24 hours from people in Indiana as it relates to the Stevenson case is just crazy. As I'm talking now, my tip line has gone off twice and 2 emails came through. I was going through some of them last night, and there are some tips that my partner and I will be spending a lot of time vetting and making calls on because some of them are pretty good. They provide at least some reason to connect things with things the Stevensons to possibly what happened in Indiana. They were just shy of celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary.
Well,
but they say it wasn't Richard Allen.
Did Abby and Libby go to a church? Were they regular attendants to a church?
That I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat knows.
The reason I ask is I'm wondering if this is strange between that and a link, or maybe it's just an odd similarity. But if there's like a crazy pagan serial killer that's roaming around the area.
Because isn't it odd, Nils, that they got a list of all the reasons why it was whatever they're saying it is, which he's not telling us. But he said Cox said Allen has been vetted and ruled out in the Stevenson case. Should investigators in Delphi identify or arrest any other suspects, Cox said they will be investigated in connection with the Stevenson murder too. He said there are several parallels between the two cases that stick out to us. Certainly the staging in both cases but also the fact that someone out there is targeting multiple individuals at the same time. It's unusual killing more than one person at a time, and it takes a distinct kind of individual to do it. With the murders in Delphi, which breaks my heart, you have two young girls who are innocently just walking along in a remote area and are very vulnerable, in part because of their age. It's the same in our case. We have two victims that were just amazing, sweet people, but they were up in age and they were very vulnerable. There are all kinds of similarities you can look at. That doesn't mean that the same persons did the crimes, but yes, there are very many similarities. Now, this is where it goes into detail. So kind of a trigger warning because it's pretty graphic. So both of them, like I said, they were part of the Union Baptist Church there, and they didn't show up for church. She was an organ player. He was one of the ministers. So to not show up was weird, right? So their daughter called her husband, and their son-in-law is the one that found them, which is absolutely horrific. But they were both stabbed an undisclosed amount of times and suffered blunt force trauma. Their murderers also inflicted an unspecified post-mortem injury on at least one of the victims around 2 hours after they were killed. So this person
So if they were
stayed in the
stabbed multiple
house.
times, that was a murder. That was not a ritual.
So it's the same thing like Delphi, like it's being staged, like you said, by like a copycat.
Yeah.
Someone stayed in that house. That's terrifying. The couple, who were soon to celebrate their 55th wedding anniversary, is believed to have been killed sometime between 1 and 4 a.m. The killer is believed to have stayed in the residence for between 3 to 8 hours, staging the crime scene, possibly even leaving and later returning to finish what they started. Cox said there didn't appear to be any particular message or reason for the way in which the crime scene was staged. So there you go. Like you said, the copycat thing. He explained, we have asked that question. You could go a long way down a path saying, oh, this kind of message they were trying to send. But at the end of the day, no. The answer is it was all really done just to confuse anyone who would come along later to look at the scene. There may be a point to it all to the individual or individuals who did it. But that's why we're keeping a lot of things back. Elaborately staged. There they are again. He believes that the culprit was known to the Stevensons. And he said it's unusual, extremely unusual, for a killer to remain at a crime scene for so long, as it increases their chances of getting caught. That indicates that this was someone who was comfortable remaining at the scene and possibly even had an excuse for being there if someone knocked on the door. We also think Bill and Peggy were killed soon after the killer entered the home. So the DNA evidence is complex, and he declined to elaborate further. But now they're doing all this crazy DNA stuff where they just need a little tiny speck of a speck of a speck, and they can pull up your family and find out who you are.
Now I know that, and I think Ranger said it, that they found the RA's DNA at the scene. And it's not hard, just the tiniest bit of anything that they can get DNA. Like if you know a certain person, you have a hair on their jacket and it falls off them and onto whatever, or like loaned a knife or something like that that has your DNA on it. That could get speculative. This case is very strange. It's very strange to me. It's going so many different directions. And that even this, with the Stevenson case,
so their daughter talks in this one, and she says that, okay, so the detectives are unable to determine whether there was more than one person. They're unsure whether the couple, he was known or if it was random and it was sadistic. So Beth is their daughter. And she says that she's haunted by the idea the killer could be someone she knows or someone hiding in plain sight who may have served her in a store or walked past her on the street. My feelings change about it every once in a while, and just the way the crime scene was. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about it, but just the way it was set up and stuff like that, it makes me believe it had to be someone they knew. But I don't know anyone who could have done something like this, something so sick and twisted. In the last almost 12 years, Beth said she is feared almost constantly for her own life and the lives of her family members. Still today, she refuses to go outside at night alone and even kept the blinds drawn on the front windows of her home 24/7 until 3 years ago. It never goes away. I still wonder every day, is the person still out there? Are they local or are they not? Isn't that sad? So this is about her husband finding them. Beth's husband discovered Bill and Peggy dead on the afternoon of May 29th, 2011, after stopping by their condo to conduct a welfare check. So I don't know what their address was. I never looked at their house, but I didn't realize until just now that it was a condo. No one heard anything. Beth had called her parents multiple times that morning after Bill failed to show up for work at the truck stop ministry, and Peggy was a no-show at the church. Her husband stopped on his way home and found them. That's Beth and her mom. Beth's husband was greeted by a violent and shocking scene. Their murderers also inflicted an unspecified postmortem injury on at least one of the victims 2 hours after they were killed. That's all the same. So yeah, that's pretty much the posing. And but isn't it interesting that Delphi were last fall, they were saying that Richard Allen wasn't the only actor involved, and now they're like, nope, it was all just Richard Allen.
Mm-hmm. After they dismissed him from the beginning, and now they're pinning it on him.
Right. And then they come out with this sketch that doesn't even look like him, like 3 years after the murders happened. Like, none of it makes sense. Nils, why do I have an ad for Flexi handcuffs? Why? Why do I get the weirdest ads? Help me. I swear I
But you
do
start
not
talking
search
about
weird things.
evidence and crime shows and stuff, and it'll
I
pop
know,
up
but it says
some really weird.
underneath it says
strange
sex
things.
/ relationships. It just went away. It just went away, thank God. Okay. No one saw that. I swear I do not look up sex toys on the internet. But I probably will. I'll
That's
probably get
crazy.
more of them now because I said it, right? It hears you too. So anyway, I don't think there's any more deets in these articles. Okay. So now we can talk about this. There's just not a lot of information, but it's kind of the same dealio we had with Delphi. What's this one? Chilling connection. Eerie link between Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen and the disappearance of murdered Jordan Sofer in 2006. What? Jordan Sofer had only recently celebrated her 18th birthday when she disappeared after visiting her adopted parents' home in Wabash, Indiana in May of 2006. Never even heard of this. How is this connected to Richard Allen? Okay, list launched, but as days turned into weeks and weeks into months without any sign of Jordan, her family, along with investigators, grew increasingly resigned to the fact that something terrible was happened to her. An agonizing 3 years would pass before Jordan's tragic fate would be revealed. The breakthrough came after a mushroom hunter scouring a rural wooded area near Peru, Indiana, happened across a set of skeletal remains in May 2009. Why is it always May? She went missing in May. She's found in May.
Let me see this.
They said it was a homicide, but her cause of death has never been determined, and few leads have been yielded in the 14 years. Allen, an employee of a CVS chain in Delphi, lived in Mexico, Indiana at the time of Jordan's disappearance. His home was 16 miles away from where Jordan was last seen. Allen later moved from Mexico to Delphi in late 2006, a few months after Jordan disappeared. A spokesperson for WCPD told The Sun they have looked into any potential links between Allen and the death of Jordan, but they do not currently suspect the 50-year-old had any involvement. Weird. Unsolved. They look similar too, don't they?
Yes. Red hair.
Mm-hmm. But no staging. I mean, they found her bones, but her purse was left behind in her apartment. And her phone. Weird. But yeah, back to the Stevensons. They said the whole house. Like, to you, does anything about this Stevenson case like stand out to you as far as anything that we've covered in Delphi or anything? Besides,
I
it
mean,
could be serial.
that's what it sounds like to me. Is it's a serial case because the multiple stabbings. That's not ritualistic.
Yeah.
So, which tells me that that was premeditated. Were they targeted because they were elderly? Were they targeted because they were Christians?
Right. Or is it like
Or
the cops
both?
said, their age made them more vulnerable? But
Yes.
how do you subdue two people like that? And that is just what blows the mind is like how, I mean, I guess when you slit someone's throat, it's very easy to subdue them pretty quickly, right? I mean, it's sad. It's brutal, but it's true. I mean, someone does that to you, you're done. You're not going to make any noises. You're not going to hear anything because that's what struck me. Like they're in a condo and someone
Mhm.
remained in there and did all this for 3 to 8 hours. No one heard anything. So that's probably
Yeah,
why
that's
they
kind of
say they
creepy.
were killed right when they came in, right?
Yeah, and there's the old cliche that the perpetrator always returns to the scene.
Mhm. Hmm.
Hmm.
It's just
But
weird
is
that
it
these go
local? Is
back
it somebody
so
that's
far.
traveling?
Mhm.
And it's funny that you mentioned the truck stop because there was an FBI report released a few years ago of all of these unsolved cases across the country that they think are linked to serial killer truck drivers, which makes
Mm.
sense because they can commit the crime and then they're gone.
They're gone.
Um, yeah,
And they have a
they
reason to be
finish
gone,
their
that's their
yeah,
alibi.
and yeah, they finish their route so they can say, "Well, were you here at this time?" So there's like all of these unlinked serial or
Wow.
possible serial cases um, that are just cold cases now. So when you mentioned truck stop, that's the first thing I thought of.
Wow, yeah. 'Cause that's what I was thinking. I'm like, "What?" And then when I didn't realize it was kind of, my ignorance, I didn't know that the chapel thing was a thing. And I looked it up and I saw there were like trailers that they do this in. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that is weird. Because I mean, you're in like the back of a trailer. There's no windows or nothing. Like anything could be going on in these trailers. And then someone schooled me and said, no, no, that's normal because, these truckers are on the road and, they want somewhere to worship. So I guess that's something that goes on. But like you said, there's a lot of bad things too. They can get away with murder. They can take kids, abduct people, and then they're gone. They're gone. So is this somebody who has spanned over other states? That's a weird thing because it's so hard because there's so many unsolved. How do you know that? But the fact that they're putting these together and it's never been talked about again. And this came out
Yeah,
after Alan. It's crazy because they said for certain. So this is the thing. If they say that these two are linked, but the cops in Kentucky say it wasn't Richard Allen. We already vetted him and ruled him out. If the same person did both of these, then it can't be Richard Allen. But if it's separate people, then maybe Richard Allen did the Delphi and we have another person on the loose, which is terrifying. And I feel bad for their daughter. How scary that must be. Sitting there like a sitting duck.
Man, this
It's
is
true.
yes, exactly.
Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky.
There he is, right? And if you
Yep.
even if you notice with even in that area, say Louisville area, you're close to Ohio and Indiana, right across the river from Indiana, and short drive to Ohio too, and they have a very large population in Louisville now, and especially in northern Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio. There's a huge amount of pagans now, especially over the past 5 years that uh, have come out. So this is strange, between the other groups and even Indiana has a large amount of pagans too. But just that
But would
whole
they
region of Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky.
not like them because they're Christian? Is that a thing?
Some pagans, not necessarily Norse pagans,
Extreme.
have
Mhm.
resentment against Christians. Some
Okay.
of that is fueled from them being raised in Christian families and being mistreated or not completely understanding that faith, and then they transitioned over to being a pagan. Um, some is just the history of Christianity in the world, and they just hold a resentment for something that they're not even responsible for. So sometimes it's just from aggressive recruiting by Christians, um, which you'll see it everywhere. You'll see it everywhere. So signs, billboards, things like that. People uh, on the side of the street, maybe a neighbor, hey, you need to come to church, things like that. So, um, or even in YouTube chats, you
It
constantly
just
see it.
seemed
So a
my
lot of
ads,
people,
Nils.
yeah,
It's hard to take
what
it
the hell?
seriously. Right? As I'm telling you, I get the weirdest shit. Look at testosterone, dark spots.
Oh my gosh, dark spot.
And I can't get rid of them. If I click it, it'll give me more. So I can't do it. Going over here. Um, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, that was funny.
I was like, wait
But
a
yeah,
minute.
there's a lot of
He's gonna think something's
there
up.
there are some pagans that have resentment against Christians.
And it's one thing to have resentment, right? It's one thing to have resentment against someone. It's one thing to not like them and all this, that, and the other. But to go to this extreme of, I mean, taking this risk of being in their house for that long, staging all of this stuff. I mean, what the heck was on their refrigerator? I wonder that would have been rearranged. Photos? I mean, all of that stuff just seems like not a hate type of crime, right?
Yeah, and not to be disrespectful, but I mean, even the stuff on the fridge, it's like, um, is this cereal, or I'm not going to say cereal. I'm not going to say it's a cereal. Is this perpetrator OCD and just rearranges like magnets on the refrigerator too?
Mm. What could have been possibly laid on top of them and they were in different rooms. It's so bizarre. It sounds even more bizarre than the Delphi scene.
Yes, it's like similar, but not exactly the same. Or is somebody trying to copycat, or is it the same person? Oh, excuse me. Or is it the same person who's trying to um, get more creative with each case?
Well, this one came before Delphi, right? This was in 2011. So then 6 years went by. I don't know. Maybe we should do some Google searches on unsolved in those areas and see, just like this Jordan
Hmm.
came up. There's probably other ones that just didn't get any attention, which is really sad because Abby and Libby got a lot of attention for like 7 years straight, and there might be other ones that are weird too if we Google.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking up, and I did not know that case took place in Boone County.
Boone County. Mm-hmm.
I had driven through Boone County through the summer.
And check this out.
This
If you
past
go to
summer.
the
Yeah,
Boone
that's crazy.
County, Kentucky.
If that's the same county that Boonesboro is in.
Burlington. It says it's in Burlington, Kentucky. Wait, let me look at the map. I'm the map. So
That's what I have to do.
Okay. Can you tell where that's at? So here's the sheriff's department. Here's Cincinnati.
Okay, yeah, definitely not. Definitely. Okay, I see where Boone County is now.
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't drive through that area.
But I-75 is right here. See, this is I-75.
Because we went through Winchester and took that cut across down. So, okay. So, no, I guess not. Yeah, Florence
Weird.
is in Boone County. So I remember seeing it's Boonesboro State Park is what we drove through. It wasn't. That's what I was thinking of. I thought that was in Boone County. Fort Boonesboro.
When I went to their website before, I found. Oh, maybe it's on here. I don't know, but they had a big write-up on it. No, I don't know where I found that. It's been so long since I looked this stuff up. But when I went here, they had it on one of these things. Maybe in their news. But it was like, no, it wasn't there. I don't know. I didn't have a hard time finding it before. I was like, oh, God, they have it right there. Like, they really want to solve this.
That's just strange, the parallel consistencies between each case.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strange. So is it like one person, a group of people, two people?
Here it is, right on their thing, right here. They've got the whole write-up. Oh, there's a video. They had $100,000 reward in 2012. Holy crap. But if anybody has any tips on this, Boone County KY.org, and they have a tip page. Let's see what this video is. It's gone, it looks like. God, it's been so long.
I agree,
It's not even there
Robin.
anymore.
I think it's two or more people. That's my opinion on it. It's two or more people committing these crimes.
You don't think that Richard Allen did it alone?
No. No. If I can't remember if it was on they found a thumbprint or the DNA on a shell casing at the scene. I can't remember how they got it, but yes, I am on Discord.
You should join our Discord. I'll send you an invite.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have Nils in our Discord, guys. God, I just want to know. I'm dying to know what tip they got that told them it was Delphi related. Sorry.
Yeah. Or is it just a similarity between something in both scenes, and they were like, hey, but
something. They said a specific person had a specific item that they were interested in, but he won't say what the item was.
Probably an athame.
What's that? A knife?
Anathema is a small double-sided dagger that's normally used in certain rituals. It's mainly Wiccan, but a lot of pagans, regardless of whether Norse or Hermetic, Egyptian, things like that. They use a lot of the same tools,
Hmm.
ritual items, I'll say.
Check this out. He said that he's the cop, Detective Cox, even talked to mediums to try to solve this. But get this, they have the Stevenson's exact time of death because a medical device was inside one of them. So probably a pacemaker. It says Cox will not say whether they have any specific suspects or persons of interest, but believes whoever did it committed other crimes. What if there's a serial killer out there, Nils?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there's some kind of crazy Norse pagan or pagan, they'll just say, old Germanic serial killer that's running around those 3 states, and just maybe nothing has happened in Ohio yet. I don't know.
Wait.
That's
LA connection. What's Evansdale?
the FBI has a tip line. Hold on.
How does one pass the pass on tips for the Stevensons? I'll put the link in the chat, actually.
Yeah, I
You
was gonna
have
say there's FBI
this is the
tips.
FBI they want. Sorry.
Yeah, tips.fbi.gov. They have an electronic tip form, so you can do it from your phone, email, and they also have a 1-800 number.
Say it again. I'll type it in the chat. Tips at FBI.gov.
Yeah, tips.fbi.gov.
Wait, tips. I have to say tips one more time, Nils. What is it again?
Tips.
I don't want to say it again.
FBI. Tips.fbi.gov.
Is it a website? www?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was an email. Sorry, my bad. Yes, if you guys are members and you're not in the Discord, send me an email to the team email and I'll send you the link. The invite.
Or you
So
can
it's
dial 1-800.
Babe. 8675309.
Yeah. www.tips.fbi.gov. 8675309.
Nils, can you explain how
Oh,
the term Odinist is fairly new? While you do that, I gotta get up for a second. I'll be right.
absolutely.
All right. Nils has the floor.
So, man, I remember we went through this before. So, there are Norse pagans, there are heathens, there are Ancestral, which are, in our belief, there's 2 tribes of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir. So the ones that strictly follow the Aesir, which is like Odin, Frigg, Frey, well, not Frey is, Aesir, Thor, Heimdall, and other gods, are called Ancestral. The ones that focus on the Vanir gods, Njord, Freyr, Frey, and others, they are called the Vanatru. And then there's some that follow Loki. They're called Lokians. There's some that just strictly follow Heimdall. Anyhow, so there's like in any belief, any religion, there's different breakdowns, different sects of these beliefs in different groups. So Odinists were Odinism, Ancestral, Norse paganism, heathens are they pretty much believe in the same gods, yes, but they practice differently. Odinists were originally founded in the UK in 1976 by 2 men, and it was a strictly an all-male white supremacist group. And because of desegregation in prisons, especially in America, um, they started to become more affluent in prisons because of that. Because all of the whites band together, all of the blacks band together, all of the Latinos band together in American prisons. So it was just like a perfect time for them to be able to come in and do that. But for the most part, I'm not going to say all Odinists are racist, but it was founded as a white supremacist racist group. I do know Odinists that are not racist by any means. They're some of the soft-hearted, most gentle, peaceful people you will meet. But that was the original purpose, is how that was created. Are pagan bikers the same as the pagan religion? There are pagans in the pagan biker group, yes. You don't have to be a pagan, I guess, to be with them. I know there's some agnostic and pagan groups. I try to stay away from motorcycle clubs. But yes, there are some bikers that do follow Odinism. And because they're out more, that's the one thing that people will look at is some type of white supremacist violent group, and that's not Norse pagans at all as a whole. And yes, there are pagans everywhere. You would not believe how many at the hospital that I work at, and I work with Christians too, some that are some of my very close friends. I would protect them in a heartbeat if something bad happened at work. And we've talked back and forth, we've joked back and forth, but yeah, there's pagans in my community. Most people don't even know that they're pagans.
That's what I was
Pagans
going to
are
ask
not
you.
as
Like, how do
common.
you know?
Yeah.
How do you
A
know
lot
if
of
someone's pagan?
a lot of times it has to do with jewelry, and we've had a lot of patients. There was a patient that came in the other day that, of course, I don't focus on jewelry or anything like that, but it's just taking care of the patient. But yeah, found out that they were a pagan as well. They were Norse pagan, just local, and they're
No kidding.
solitary. They're solitary, which means that they don't belong to a community, a group, or anything like. It's like a Christian just staying at home, not going to church all the time. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
pagans that are the same thing.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
yeah,
how I
pagan.
imagine myself. Like,
Yeah.
raised Catholic, but don't practice it, and don't go to church, but I have a faith in God, and
hmm
but I don't do
That's
all the
how
rituals.
that's how my wife is. She's a Christian, but she doesn't go to church. She has her
See, that's
Christian
so
beliefs
crazy.
in
You're
it.
married to a Christian. It can work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I joke with her all the time because of the things that she bakes and things like that. And uh, even Women Are Sacred has met my wife. So
That is so
and have
cool.
talked. So yeah.
Pagan Ways. Hello, Pagan Ways. I've never seen you in here. Thank you for joining.
So yeah, he says he wears his pentacle. Here's my Mjolnir, which I will transition here very soon at the end of the month. So
I love it.
and this is just a symbol of courage, strength, and protection.
Courage, strength, and protection. That's what we all need.
Yes, because it's Mjolnir, it's the hammer of Thor, and Thor was a protector of mankind and of Midgard. So yeah, and
Tell us
of course he's
about your
one of the strongest
Halloween.
of
What
the
do you
gods.
guys do? I
Oh
want to know about your
man.
biggest holiday. This is your biggest holiday coming up in a couple
So
weeks. What are you doing to prep?
we've already decorated, of course. There's a few other things that we have to do, but yeah, see here,
Oh,
I'll show
let's
you the
see.
mirror. Yeah. So little spooky things. And then of course our
Oh,
gourds.
let me see the spooky things again. I made it big
Oh, I'll
screen
show
so
you some
everybody
more
can
stuff.
see.
Ooh. Here's our cute little pumpkin.
Do 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 do.
All right, let's take you on the grand tour.
Oh, we're getting the tour. All right. It's holiday
Now,
tour with Nils.
this pumpkin will be painted. We painted up like a little ghost house. Of course, our little skulls
I
to
love the
symbolize.
skulls.
to symbolize death, dying this time of year. And well, we did have decorations in here, but I guess the baby got into it. So we'll show you others, and just a few fall decorations, and of course the leaves everywhere. And of course, here's our table with
I love
complete
how
with
you have a
runner.
skull in the middle.
Yes.
It's all autumn with a skull in the middle.
And our pumpkins and our bones.
What kind of bone is that?
It's fake, but it's supposed to represent the clavicle, your collarbone.
Is there a symbolism to the collarbone?
No, it's just the bone.
It's just a bone.
Just the bone.
Not everything means something.
Yeah. So yeah, just different bones around too, because this time of year represents dying. And then of course winter is death. So let me go in here because we got the pretty little
Oh, I love it.
ghost.
You guys are all decked out.
Oh yeah. And then here is the piano.
Nice.
With
Do you
our little
play?
pumpkins and such? Yes.
Do you really?
Not as
Awesome.
often as I used to, but yeah. And then the chandelier.
Ooh, I
with
like
the-
that. Spooky.
And then in the kitchen, of course, we have our other beautiful decorations. See if I can hold this up a little bit.
I love that
Maybe not.
room.
Yeah. So this is the kitchen. And I was sitting over there at the end of the table. So
I love it.
but we do a lot more. Here's the ground floor tour. We do a lot more. We have a lot of sacred rituals that we do as well. On the night of Halloween, we call Veternater or Alpha Blood.
Yeah, Veternater.
In Celtic paganism, they call it Samhain. It's spelled Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain, which is pretty much the same holiday. And in the old Aztecs had a similar way of celebrating too, which they still practice today in Mexico. Dia de las Muertes, the Day of the Dead. So we venerate a lot to the elves in our belief because they are closely connected to our ancestors, the ones that have passed, of course. We do a lot of ancestor veneration. The veil is considered the thinnest this time of year as it transitions from the seasons from warm to cold. So, which is why this is also the spooky season. But it's not just your ancestors can come over and visit you, the same as the Aztec belief. And this used to be a whole worldwide belief. So many ancient cultures believed that time of year that there would be the time that spirits cross over from the realms everywhere, not just your ancestors. So to ward off the evil spirits, that's why they have the jack-o'-lanterns. People would dress up in spooky costumes to scare off the evil spirits. And also, they would not recognize you, and especially children, so they wouldn't snatch children up. Hello, bee. Go away.
It looks so pretty out. Is it cool?
So-
Is it like crisp and fallish?
It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So yeah,
that's
I mean,
nice.
it's just absolutely beautiful outside.
It looks beautiful. I miss the fall up north. I'm sweltering down here. The humidity is
Oh,
probably
yeah.
90% and it's miserable right now.
Mm.
So it
Florida
looks
weather is so
nice.
disrespectful.
It is. Damn them. Healing Time says I set up a feast and offering to my ancestors.
Yes, they have oh my gosh, a dumb supper. So we offer whatever we make that night, whether it's a stew or other food for the feast. We offer some to the land spirits. We offer some to the elves. We'll set the plate out at the table for our ancestors to come and eat with us. Some people do a dumb supper, which was everybody will eat, and they'll set that same plate for their ancestors there, and no one will look up or look at that plate, so your ancestors can eat in peace with you. So the old tradition is if you look up, then they won't eat from that plate. So everybody just sits there. But we always leave a plate out for our ancestors and for the land spirits and for the house spirits and for the elves
That's
as well. And
cool.
we have different areas that we leave these offerings, these food offerings for.
So that's how you memorialize your loved ones at holiday time.
Yes, and we have a what we call an ancestor altar. So it'll be normally it's by the front door because that's where our ancestors will come in through, and we will have pictures around that mirror set up, or personal items, and of course candles burning so that they can come over, and it teaches our children and others who our ancestors are. And we have another sacred ritual we have done since I was a little boy, as long as I can remember. It's called the Ancestor Cup, and we have a huge fire, which the fire pit's back here, and we gather around the fire with a goblet of wine, and we will take a sip and tell a story about our ancestor. Whichever deceased, it could be a grandfather, an uncle, great grandfather, whatever. Or if you have a story from an ancient ancestor that you're related to, you could tell that story. And then you pass the cup to your left, and it goes clockwise around the fire until the wine is gone and there's no more stories to be told. And we call that ritual Ancestor Cup in our family.
It's neat. I agree, you guys. It's cool to learn about other people's beliefs. Emily Elizabeth said, "Oh, this case is bringing out all walks of life." Thanks for learning us, Nils.
You're very welcome. The importance of Ancestor Cup to us is, as long as you're telling these stories about your family members that have deceased, your ancestors, that memory remains and they never truly go away. They never truly die. And they still come over to visit you every year. So they're still with you in your everyday walk of life and everything that you do, because you are the product of 1,000 loves, literally. If it was not for them, you would not exist now. And they were champions through everything the world has gone through: pandemics, wars, famines. You are here, which means that they had survived all of those things so you could be where you're at.
There's a question on the
So,
screen for you from Don.
yeah.
He said, "Nils, can you tell from the bridge guy video if the pouch looks like a Norse pagan pouch?" And I pulled up like the best one I could find.
Yeah, we talked about this before in that right jacket pocket. Of course, we can't tell what's in there, but it's something that's heavy. It could be a pouch with a bag of runes. It could be a weapon.
I think they're talking about
Of
the
course, we
brown
don't know, but
thing below his jacket.
honestly, that looks like, at first I thought that was a fanny pack, but I think that's the bottom of his shirt,
Like a button down.
because he's a pretty hefty guy. So it looks like he's wearing some type of button down, maybe brown or green flannel shirt, and because he's a 2XL. I mean, I could tell from just looking at the picture, the photo. And then he's got a short waist jacket on.
He's definitely layered because that jacket is
But yeah,
poofy.
yes.
You don't think that's a pouch at all. You don't think that's like a leather pouch. You think
No,
that's
I
his
think that's
shirt
part of his.
sticking out.
Yeah, because if you look at the right picture, it looks like a pouch, but if you look at the left picture, you can see the other side of the shirt coming down below the jacket.
Yeah, on the right side, it kind of looks like it has depth to it. But
Mhm.
then on the left
But
side, it looks like it's flat like a shirt.
yeah, that shadow's actually covering the kind of blending in the material there. But yeah, that looks like a button-down shirt, and he's just got a short waist jacket on. There was
Here's
another
another
question.
photo.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead if you want to find it. I'm going to pull up this
I
other picture.
trying to see if I can find it here.
Oops.
I saw the comment about the sauna, which is pretty cool. We call them Baku in Sweden. I can't find it now.
What was it about? Do you remember?
It was a Pagan question, but
Might not have gone back far enough.
yeah, there wasn't Dawn's. It was another question.
Was it before the term Odinism being fairly new?
No, it was after.
Healing time, yeah. The hood. Do you think that's a hood healing time? Because we were led to believe in that sketch it was like a driving cap.
That's what. Yeah, it looks like a cap. That's a hooded jacket. Definitely a hooded jacket.
I don't know. It's just so weird.
Why is he walking so casually? And of course, he's looking down because of the space of the boards on the bridge.
I was going to say, do you think he's looking down because of the space on the boards, or do you think he's looking down because he knew one of the girls had their phone out?
I mean, normally, if he knew the girls had their phone out and he's walking, I can't speculate because I'm not him, but I would turn the other way. But as I said before, I don't believe that's RA.
You don't think it's him?
Mm-mm. From the hat, the build, the shoulders, the neck, the goatee, which is visible, I believe, this is just my opinion, that's BH.
I know you said that last time too when we went through these.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for asking, Don Spain. Thanks for being here. I just see that shadow underneath the nose, and it reminds me of that mustache. Is that what you see too?
Yeah, it's like here, and then you could see the goatee because you could see the hairs right below the chin, and some type of scarf.
Definitely something in that pocket, though.
The Ranger, those were signs, the caution signs and stuff, at the end of the bridge, on the other end of the bridge, because it
that's
is
what
a
that
very,
is?
very old bridge. Yeah, if you look at there's 3 people there actually.
It looks like
No,
people,
there's
but it's
okay.
not. Another one.
Yeah, I know there was. They have signs on both sides of the bridge from the other pictures we looked at last time.
Yeah, they do have signs because that lady talked about.
Oh, Robin, I did not know that.
What'd she say?
BH like to give his caps to people too.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He gave one to his dad. He gave one to someone else, and then he also shared the Facebook where he orders them from. Wait, look at
that. Looks like a person very in the very middle and on the right. The left might be a bridge column.
You know, that could be the
that's
other
2 other people, 2 or 3 other people
them.
standing down there.
That could be the young girls that saw him, or the witnesses, the eyewitnesses. Okay, there's so many people that have been suspects in this throughout the years.
Coming.
This guy here in 2019 was arrested. Charles Eldridge was arrested for child molestation, and then people said he resembled Bridge Guy.
Hold on, Lucy.
So I don't know how they ruled this guy out, but he does resemble the Bridge Guy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a child molester.
There's a special place in the deepest depths of Niflheim for them, where a dragon.
How do we know this dude wasn't out there on the bridge that day waiting down the hill? Wait, look at this one, Nils.
Let me see if I can
Indiana
find this.
State Police conclude Colorado visit to investigate Delphi murder tip. They went to Colorado.
I think I know where
El-
they went to. I guarantee you they probably went to just outside Boulder.
El Paso County.
Let me see where that's at.
They didn't give any information. His name is Daniel Nations. I think El Paso is near Colorado Springs.
That's in the east. Okay, not the same person. I thought they would go visit. Yeah, Colorado Springs. So yeah, definitely.
Good morning, everybody. This was an impromptu YouTube live. I tried to do it with StreamYard, but it didn't work that well.
Okay, Robin just sent me a video. This guy went to the bridge recently and filmed it. Let's see. She said it looks so different. I guess they made it safer.
Diana's friend is she's got a friend Svensk.
She has
Lives
what?
in Sweden. She has a friend that lives
Oh,
in
she
Sweden.
does?
Here it is. Emily asked, "What do I use to protect from goblins?" So goblins, trolls, mainly trolls, other creatures like that. We use iron. So, which is why some people still use iron nails in doorways. So entrances to your home, we have iron at both doors. One's hanging up outside. So if you see people that hang an iron horseshoe above their door, that's an old Norse tradition, practice, rather.
Oh, wow. I always thought that was like a cowboy
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, no, it's to keep out bad spirits and trolls because they can't cross iron. I
Interesting.
think Insomnia
This is what
asked that question
this is
too.
what the bridge looks like now.
They fixed it.
They fixed it. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? I think it's wild that anybody even went out there and walked that thing. I'm not sure I would have wanted my kids playing on that thing. There's the old bridge, right? Ooh, he just made me dizzy. So they cut
Wow.
it off so you can't walk across anymore. They just have like a, what do you call those? Like a platform? Wow, it's
Yeah,
eerie, isn't it?
that just goes out, I guess, to the gorge or what? Yeah, where that's at.
Wow. That's what they were
It,
walking on though, right there? That is so scary. I would never have gotten on that thing. There's no way. I don't think it's a memorial.
mm. There was a picture of that you had earlier of like a memorial site set up at the tree where the girls were found.
Mhm. I don't know where that went, but yeah. This is crazy. I don't know. Look at his belly. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, and he's got a pretty long goatee there, so
He
it could be the same.
does. Look at it's like gray and like you said in that picture. Let's go back to that picture really quick. Cuz you even noted that. I didn't even really notice that could have been but it doesn't look gray, Nils.
No,
I don't think
and
that's
it looks a little bit shorter. So from that time, from that date till later, was it shorter and he was growing it out, or
It doesn't
So
even look like his face though, and I know it's like
no,
it's pixelated and all that, but I don't know, man. I'm not seeing it. But it could be. It could be. I don't know. That Stevenson case really freaked me out. Really freaked me out.
yeah, there's a lot of odd similarities with that case. A lot of
Mhm.
parallel consistencies.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually look and see and do some searching and see if there's any unsolved, similarity like stabbings or anything like that.
Is there a way that you can bring up that picture and then Ari's, not his current picture, but one before that or around that time?
Like side by side
Yes, to compare the two. I don't know if it'll
of
allow you
Bridge
to.
Guy and Allen or what?
Yeah.
Sure, I can.
That's what I thought, BH. Or Robin, I thought it was BH. But it could be a completely person altogether that's tied in. I don't think this was the act of one person. I don't. I think this was the act of many. And there
I
was
have a
one fallback for it.
Do we know, and this may be dumb because I know some people have heard him talk, but oh my God, this picture that I just came. Oh my gosh, I got to show you this. Okay, wait for it. This is funny. Look. This is what I came across when I was looking for Bridge Guy. It's him. It's him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's a bad Photoshop job too. Okay, let's see.
Megan's an interesting person you would definitely want to talk to. Her family is Sami. So the Sami people are the indigenous people of northern Scandinavia and part of Russia. So Norway, Sweden, Finland, and parts of northwestern Russia and northern Russia. There are some in Siberia as well, but yeah, they are the indigenous Arctic people. They live above the Arctic Circle. Some live below. Very, very cool people. Very interesting people.
I can't get them to come up side by side, unfortunately, but I can make one. I can make a side by side.
Just
It'll
pop
just
up
take a second.
one and then
I
pop
can
up
just
another one
Yeah, I can just
instead of doing
pop
a
it
side by
up.
side.
Well, no, I can do a side by side really fast. Because I found another picture of Richard Allen. Look at this one. This one might look a little more like Bridge Guy here. Now, I don't know. I just found this in Google Images, so I don't know who's on the right-hand side. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but look on the left with him looking down. The goatee was way shorter.
I don't know. The length of the nose is about the same. If this was, which picture is earlier? The one on the left or the one on the right? Which one came first? Because
I don't even know what the one on the right is supposed to be.
the one on the right is, I guess, him on the bridge, and the one on the left, it was just like in the summer or whatever, but because he's still wearing a short sleeve t-shirt. I don't know. The facial features are pretty similar.
No, this isn't my side by side. This is just
Oh,
the picture
okay.
I found on the internet. You're trying to be nice and be
Okay.
like, "Oh yeah, you're doing it right, Jay." You're like, "Yeah." No, that's just one I found. I don't know what that is on the right. Someone put that there. I'm putting together Picture of Richard Allen and bridge guy next to each other. Which picture of Richard should I use? I want one where he's looking down like that. Isn't it weird too? Did you happen to catch that his daughter did her senior pictures on that bridge? Sitting right on that bridge?
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Weird. So if it was him, that's a little gross. Okay, here we go. I'm going to make a collage. Boom, boom. Here we go.
Interesting.
All right, here we go, Nils. We're in biz now.
Ranger, I really can't say if it's a cult. But the group of people, yes, they probably like just rogue fanboys, wannabes that probably watched a Viking TV show one too many times and thought this is the way of life. This is how they lived. And that's the scary part. People taking entertainment, TV entertainment for the legitimate way of how we lived. Yeah. I don't think that's him. I don't think that's RA at all.
For some reason, the face looks really it looks really wide here. His cheeks look bigger. Richard Allen's goes down like that. It looks like he has like a rounder head. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, the pixels can really mess things up and make things look, distorted but I don't know. What I'm wondering is like, did they find when they took the clothes out of his house and stuff, did they find a hat like that? Did they find what he was wearing?
How
Or
common
what
is
they
it for
think he
people
was wearing?
and how common is it for people to wear those type of hats in that area?
Very common. Those hats are very common. Like Robin's husband wears those hats. And he's not bridge guy.
I know my son has one. He got when he was over in Ireland when we went there in 2019. But I don't think that's RA on the bridge.
Has anyone ever heard RA talk? Because I know there's videos of him talking, I think with his wife on like a roller coaster or something. I've personally never heard it, but I just wondered if, they heard his voice. I've never heard his voice. And that down the hill is just so garbled. I can't tell if it's two people, one person. I know a lot of people think it's two, but look at this one. Look at this photo here. This kind of shows his stance. I guess that's him from behind. People have really done a lot of stuff to try to figure this out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a list, and I know they found like blue jacket, but they weren't specific about what kind of jacket. I don't know. It's hard to say. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. It's kind of hard to say, but like we looked at that video before, Nils, and he definitely has that limp.
So the first hearing is at the end of the month, correct?
They're in court, I think, Monday for the status hearing, and then they have a motions hearing, I think, on the 31st. Yes. But I don't know if that's going to be televised.
Oh, I hope it is, because it's going to be interesting.
It hasn't been thus far.
I am so infatuated with the evidence that they're that they're going to present.
Me too. Me too. They
'Cause-
they're going to have this hearing, and then his trial is supposed to start in January. So hopefully on the 31st is when they will talk about whether they're going to allow cameras. Because if you recall, the defense said, "Hey, we want cameras in the courtroom," and the prosecution said, "We don't," which is usually the opposite. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
that's. I hope they allow it. I really hope they allow cameras. The fact that the prosecution doesn't want cameras, I can understand. These were minors, but what is the prosecution? It's a mess on their end. It's an absolute mess from the beginning of the case, 5 years ago to the stuff that they have now. Why wouldn't the prosecution want to allow cameras? If they are so certain and this is so definitive, why wouldn't they allow it? That's what makes me wonder. As you said, normally it's the opposite.
Mhm. Well, we have the same thing going on in the Koberger case where they don't want them. Both sides are saying, "Oh, we're cool with not having them." But, the public is like, "Wait, we want to see what's going on," especially with these cases where, especially Delphi, it's been like 7 years, no answers, all these different people, and everybody is invested in it. And they want to know, they want to see the evidence for themselves. They want to see the, what the investigation brought forward. And without cameras, we'll never know what goes on in there. All we're going to hear is a reporter's rendition, a reporter's
Mhm.
interpretation of what they saw and heard. I like seeing it for myself. And I like, like we did with the Farrader trial. We're all sitting there watching it together and sharing our opinions and bouncing things off of each other.
I'll tell you what, that was a pretty quick decision by the jury. I mean, it was like, what, 3 hours
Mm-hmm.
yesterday?
If
So
if even that,
when they had a verdict, it was like, because it was very short
it was very
from the
short.
time that I jumped in until the very end for the announcement of the verdict. And as soon as they said everyone is saying, "Hey, we have a verdict," I was like, "Yep, he's guilty." Right off the bat, he's guilty.
Mhm. Yeah, usually when it comes back that fast, it's not a good sign. I think that's why
Yeah,
his wife was all boo-hooing. So
yeah.
we're
So,
invested. We're gonna watch hers too, Same
oh yeah, she's
charges.
next. She's next.
I hope she gets the exact same thing. I have a voice analysis or a voice comparison of Richard Allen.
Okay.
Let me share here.
This
Hold
is
on. Thank you,
compared to
Robin.
the video for
Yeah,
the audio.
someone
For
has
the
him
phone.
at a bar, like racking pool balls. Let's see. They have RA talking and then the down the hill. So
Cable snap. 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 Cable snap.
I can't
Okay.
tell. What do you think?
I heard down the hill kids.
But they're saying so the one,
Cable snap.
that one is actually Richard Allen from this video here. He's wearing this beanie. Look at him
Mhm.
in the beanie. So that's him talking in the beanie and then down the hill.
Cable snap. Cable snap. Cable snap.
Do you think it's the same guy? That's Richard Allen right there too.
Yeah, it sounds similar. It sounds
Cable
very close.
Cable snap. Cable snap. Cable snap. Cable snap. Cable snap. Cable snap.
Yep. It's the same monotone voice.
Hmm.
Cable snap. Cable snap.
You know, he's got a lot of different looks too when you look at him, like with no facial hair, with the goatee, and then he's got the long goatee,
Hmm.
bald, with hair.
That picture there, and yeah. So go to that one, and then go to the other one. Not the
The
beanie, but the other one with the hat and the
the
shadow. Yeah,
ball.
not that one.
This?
No, there was another picture. That one with the blue ball cap.
Oops. I think I'm on a delay. This one. Oh shit. There we go.
That one. Go from that one
To the bridge guy.
because
I
his
can't because
face
it's a video,
is a
but
little wider. Yeah. Ah,
it is. His
so
cheeks
that'd
are
have been
fuller
perfect.
there. I want
Mhm.
to know the date on these. Like it's hard to say because the date, you know, whatever date these were taken. Tony Kline works for Chrysler. Did you say Richard Allen did too? I didn't say that, but somebody earlier said something about Richard Allen working at Chrysler, and I had never heard that before. He worked at Walmart too, Texas Ranger. See, I didn't even know that. I just knew the CVS job.
Emily, sorry. I get that a lot. A lot of people are like, your accent, and
I'm used to it now. The first time when you came on, I was like, whoa, I didn't know you had an accent. You can't tell me in your accent.
especially some of my IG videos too. I'm speaking my native tongue. I'm speaking Swedish. So
Who was
svenska.
in chat typing Norwegian to you yesterday or the day before?
Oh, I can't remember who that was. Yeah,
Was it Meg?
that was Norwegian, Norsk. Yeah, I can't remember who it
No,
was.
it was Jammers. It was Jammers.
Was
And
it
you were like,
Jammers?
Jammers, you speak Norwegian? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, did she Google translate that? I meant to ask her about it. The Klines are involved somehow, says Toy Airy, and this is all about CP.
Is there any information on the Klines
Yeah, there is actually.
mentioned in the case,
Wow.
or because I've heard
Yeah.
several mention
there's-
him, and I never knew that from the beginning.
Yes. Well, Keegan Kline, we'd have to go back. We can go back and do it. We can do another live and go through the Kline stuff because I didn't follow it then. And I know there was some business with his dad and him using this phone or this account, Anthony Shots. So I think Keegan Kline told them that only him and his dad used that account or something. So that was something weird. And then I don't know what got his dad off the hook. I don't even know if his dad's in jail. I have no idea what's going on with his dad. But Keegan was arrested on the child porn and he was sentenced already and everything. But they took him out of jail to interview him about the Delphi case. Removed him from his cell, drove him somewhere to meet with investigators, talked to him, and then all of a sudden he was sentenced. He took a plea deal and he was sentenced. There's got to be more to it. I just feel like there has to be.
I
It
mean,
just all seems. And then you have
yeah,
Keegan Kline
like I said, there's more than one
communicating with
person
the
involved.
girls. Yeah, there's got to be because Keegan Kline admitted that he communicated
Beautiful.
with one of the girls on Instagram the day of the murders. That's just way too coincidental that he's on some fake account talking to one of the girls and then they get a ride. Oh, hey, sister, can you give me a ride to the park? We want to go hang out. They get dropped off and they're dead within hours.
Yeah,
That just is too coincidental.
especially teenagers that young out in the remote wilderness.
And you think about that eyewitness who passed them when she was leaving. She said she saw Richard Allen on the platform standing there. And then the girls had gotten dropped off and she was leaving to go to her car from her walk. And she passed them coming in, going towards the bridge. So that poor woman saw those girls walking to their demise. Oh, Nuffle. I like that. Can I have a Nuffle?
Yeah, it's pronounced Tnuffle,
Knuffle? What is
like
it?
with a T. Our
Oh,
consonants and our vowels are pronounced a little bit different. So yeah, it's like it's a
Snuffle.
Tnuffle. Yeah,
That's
is a
cute.
hug.
It's cuter
It's
than
very
hug.
Swedish is a little bit different. So in America they have like yes, yeah, um, yep. So ours is kind of similar. So it's ja, ja, ja is yes. Um, like yoppers, which is like yes, yeppers, yop, yeah. But there's one thing we do, and it's more prominent in the South, Söderland. We call it the Southlands, Southern Sweden, um, as an answer to yes, and it freaks out tourists too when they visit. So, and basically another form of yes in Sweden is that's it, just just a quick inhale.
What
That
is
also
it?
means yes. Yeah, just it is. It sounds silly to people outside, but yeah, just so if someone asks you a question, hey, do you want some coffee? And you're just like,
And that's yes.
that
I
also
would
means
love
yes, yeah.
coffee. Check this out, Nils.
Okay.
Article from March. Keegan Kline's father, podcaster, and Anthony Schott's model named potential witnesses. The Miami County Prosecutor's Office has filed a list of potential witnesses in the trial. Oh, that's for Keegan Kline's trial. Podcaster? Why would a podcaster testify in his trial? Which he never went
Anthony
to trial.
underscore. I'm gonna look that up. Anthony underscore shots.
Uh-huh. Kline was interviewed in late 2021 by Barbara McDonald, an investigative producer for Headline News and host of Down the Hill podcast. McDonald is another one of potential witnesses named by the Miami prosecutor's office. Why would she have been a witness, I wonder? And they
This is
never went to court.
from May of last year. Catfisher admitted contacting girls night before they were leaked. Police transcript shows.
Wait, say that again?
A man linked to the fake Instagram profile used to catfish two Indiana teens has admitted contacting them the night before they were killed.
And
Linked
isn't that
police
crazy?
transcript
Now they
shows,
say, oh, they weren't catfished.
but he's not considered a suspect. So Keegan Anthony Kline's Instagram profile was Anthony underscore shots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And look at this, Nils. On August 25th of this year, he's appealing his sentence. He took a deal. He was sentenced to 40 years. It must have been bad.
Damn.
Dude, that's bad. Because, like, we just had, listen to this. This is sickening. We had a little girl go missing in Tennessee. I don't know if you ever heard of Summer Wells, but Summer
Yes.
Wells.
That was
Okay.
all over the
Yeah.
news here.
Yes, absolutely. So Summer Wells, we started following all these things going on in Hawkins County in Tennessee. And the sheriff of Hawkins County, his son was arrested for child pee. And get this, he was up for 20 some years. He's out. He was put in for a year. He got out yesterday. He was released yesterday. 1 year. This guy got
shit.
40 on a plea. What? That's unheard of. It says for charges of child exploitation, possession of child pee, and obstruction of justice. He used several fake social media profiles to message little girls and get pictures from them. So who's to say this dude wasn't some type of a pimp who would link up and catfish these girls to find out who they are, where they live, perhaps set up a meeting, and boom,
They go, and whoever he's given that information to that pays him for it has the meeting.
Exactly. I agree with that. Yeah, because that would make sense to the group theory of it being more than one person.
I wonder
He
what
lured them
grounds he's
in.
appealing this on. What would he possibly... Now look at this one, Nils. Catfish Keegan Kline blamed his dad for sending illicit messages to murdered girl and flip-flopped over plea. This is a mess. But you notice he's wearing a UAW shirt. And there's him and his dad right there. A lot of people thought he looked like Bridge Guy. And where
Are
are
you
they
able to
there?
zoom in? Zoom in on his dad.
Mm-hmm. I can try. Is it getting bigger?
Yeah, it is.
Loaded. Okay. You have to remember my audience, they have really dirty minds. I always have to be a step ahead of them because I
I'm in the
always
right
say
place.
things. I always say things and I get razzed for it because
I was just
mouth
trying to
goes
see
before my brain.
his father's haircut. Is what I was looking at.
Oh, let me just go like this. It looks like it's shaved on the sides, but let's make it nice.
Check this out. And then
Nils
look at
has
this.
me.
It's a
Wait,
very
hold up.
pagan haircut.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I
is.
couldn't tell if it was just a high and tight military haircut or
What do you think?
if he actually has like a pony hawk. Might just be a high and tight because I don't see a knot or anything at the back.
I don't think it's long.
I think it's a high and tight. No,
He is a gross looking dude, though.
Douche dad haircut.
Yep. So he pinned it on his dad. So I don't know. Is his dad in prison too or in jail? I don't even know. I don't know much about these two. But Potato said that more than one person used the Anthony shots too. You guys, this is what he pled guilty to. Listen to this. 25 counts of child P, child solicitation. So he was soliciting. Child exploitation, synthetic identity deception, and obstruction of justice. And it says as part of an unrelated child exploitation case.
What a sick monster.
And he did actually do an interview too with a reporter that's out there. So I can send you that if you want to listen to it because he talked to them or talked to her from jail. Tony Kline is the dad. And a friend of his told this podcast, Delphi After Dark, that Tony Kline is one of the most technologically challenged people I've ever met. And it cast doubt over the idea he'd know how to access his son's devices and accounts. And then he also said that Tony told him once that he wouldn't even have known what device Keegan was doing anything on because he had several old phones, a couple of tablets, and a desktop computer. So, sound familiar? They also took a bunch of old phones from Richard Allen's house. Weird. There's so many twists and turns in this case.
Yes. I just don't understand how they can't see the connection.
Look at Keegan here. Ew. He's only 28 years old.
He looks about like 450 pounds of chewed bubble gum and 48 years old.
I saw you say that yesterday. Chewed bubble gum. I died.
You said somebody looked like chewed bubblegum.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's disgusting. He is disgusting. Yeah, he's a 4X plus. He could even be. He looks 40. I know. His dad is not in jail. Where is his dad? How did his dad get off? How does this happen? How do you have child predators that, I mean, yeah, and
And
Angie
he was
B, I
living
saw
at
you
home
ask.
in his dad's home, right? He didn't have his
Yeah,
own
live
house. He was
together.
living with his parents, right?
Mhm. I would like to know where his dad is now.
Wow. His dad could have. He could have snitched on his son and made a deal with prosecution to get
Mhm.
off of it. They just kept it under the table. Oh, Tracy, that's excellent. Yeah. One day I'll have to come in with my beads and stuff and then have it braided and get the beard beads in. It'll look nice for you guys.
Braid it for us.
Look more. This I might.
Okay, so they moved to Vegas, Robin said too. So they've been in other states too.
Oh yeah, they're crazier in hell if they move to Vegas.
Green Eyed Pea, I think Tony's involved.
Because Vegas, if you I have a friend that has another channel. I'm trying to describe this in a nice way. They expose child predators.
Oh, yeah.
And
Predator hunters.
yes, and Vegas right now is a huge human trafficking site for children. Like hotspot, I guess. Jay Keegan is a
Sorry,
rapper. Man,
I'm just
what's
kind of
what
glancing at this article. Why is everything rap? Oh man, listen to this. According to transcripts provided to Fox 59 by the Murder Sheet podcast, investigators knew that Libby German had been interacting with the Anthony Schatz account prior to her murder. Police believe Libby was completely enthralled, is in quotes, with the online persona. Kline's home was searched 12 days after the murders. Stop. 12 days? According to the transcripts, Kline had told police other people had access to his online accounts and devices, including his father, who was reportedly freaking out when Kline told him in February 2017 that detectives said Kline was a suspect.
Wow.
The heavily redacted unsealed court documents in Kline's Child P case reveal that Kline had at least 7 devices where officials found chats, photographs, or other evidence tied to the Child P case. Some of the nude images of teenage girls found on the devices geolocated to Indiana cities that include Bunker Hill, Galveston, Indianapolis, Kokomo, Monterey, Hammond, and Royal Center.
Yeah, he's a
Whoa.
shitbag.
He is a shitbag.
He is
The
an
unsealed court
absolute shitbag.
documents also reveal that some of the messages found on the devices, another persona named Emily Ann would talk to teen girls about having sex with both Kline and his father. It gets worse. Trigger warning. Some images found on the devices depicted children as young as 3 in sex acts.
What a shitbag. How could you do that? How could you with
Evil.
a clear conscience sleep every night? I mean,
Now listen to this. The unsealed court documents revealed that both the prosecutor and Kline's attorney requested that Kline be temporarily turned over to Indiana State Police custody. Kline's attorney then filed a request asking for the upcoming pretrial conference to be delayed due to negotiations being in progress. So is Kline okay? So let's talk about this. Is it possible, you think, Nils, that Kline could be the star witness and we just don't know? Like,
Yes.
what if they have evidence that Richard Allen got information from Kline to meet these girls, and that's what they're gonna nail him with in court? Is
Yep.
that
That's
possible?
probably that might be why they don't want it televised, because of
True.
everything that is going to come out.
Secret witnesses and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yep.
you've got this child P case that he's involved in all those different cities. Can you imagine how many girls he might have had information on?
And what ties it in with other cases in other states as well? That would make it a federal FBI case too.
Man, I just think that there's a lot that's going to come out in this Delphi case that we may not even be thinking about right now, because if he's
Agreed.
connected to Klein somehow, there could be a lot more going on here. And Richard Allen, maybe on some of those devices, they could have had information about other girls.
Yeah. That ties in the whole group theory,
Mhm.
like the group of a few guys performing
Makes
these
me
acts.
Yeah, and it makes me think, Nils, that it's a bunch of child predators who want it to look like it's Odinism when they're
Yep.
really predator rings.
Yep. I agree. What is it's like, is there, and that's bad too, to target us, because it's like, is there child predators in paganism? I don't know. I know in Norse paganism, it's highly, highly against our belief. Hell, in the old cultural societies, it was forbidden. Certain criminals, especially for acts like that, you would be considered an outlaw. We called it outlawgi. And the difference is you were banned. If you committed something so heinous or so bad that it didn't warrant an instant execution, that
Right.
you would be banned from your village, town, whatever. Um, and you had to live in the forest for the rest of your life. And the whole time that you were out in that forest, you were fair game. And anyone
Mhm.
could take you out.
That's worse than
Anyway,
being in
it
prison.
was yeah, so not only were you banned as an outlaw, and unable to return to your family, friends like that, while you were out there, you were fair game. And it was law that if you were an outlaw, they could take you out, that nothing could be done.
Yeah, that's quite a deterrent.
Hmm.
But, there's shitbags in every walk of life, So, I mean, even if it was
Hmm.
someone who was Norse pagan and it turns out they're into child P, obviously there's shitbags from everywhere in every walk of life. But I think you're right. I think it's a copycat, and I think they're trying to confuse investigators. I think this really
Yes.
has down deep is child P all over it. The fact that they went to this Keegan Kline's home 12 days. I mean, 3 years later, they're putting out a sketch of a different person, but they were in his house 12 days after? How did they get him so fast? How did they even have him on the radar within 12 days?
Yeah.
How? They definitely, I think that Keegan Kline holds the key to this case. He's got to.
I hope they televise this.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they televise this.
And these child predators better watch their butts, pinning their sick, twisted crimes and things on a certain group of people. You can't do that. Someone might not like that.
Were they what we call baby pagans too? Were they new? Um,
Baby pagans?
yeah, new
Is that
pagans.
like
The
newbies?
term, yeah, newbies. So new pagans. The term is baby pagans. So were they baby pagans that that had just gotten into this and stuff that just know this guy that said, "Yeah, I can get you these girls." I mean, there's so many things to speculate over this case. But I agree with you. I think Klein does hold certain answers.
Mhm. I know they say his cases were unrelated. Of course they'd be unrelated if he was catfishing other girls for other predators to possibly meet or get their personal information, find out what school they go to, where they hang out, what they do. And Anthony Shit's account was Libby's last
Shit.
contact.
Let me
And
said Anthony shot Anthony
I
shits.
know. Potato, you swear too much when your phone autocorrects shot to shit. Usually it's the opposite. She said shots.
Yeah.
Oops.
I
And then
love
to
you,
hear that
Potato. You're
Libby
great.
was enthralled with this cutie Anthony Shots.
Yeah.
She probably thought she was meeting him out there at that park.
See, this is
Mm-mm-mm.
part of the reason that I did not. I tried to get into law enforcement when I was 23. I did not pass a one of the psychological questions. I didn't. That's what stopped it there. Um, and I can't remember the specifics of the question, but my answer was no child molester would ever make it to the cruiser alive.
And they turned you down for that? Come on.
Yep.
You're the kind of people we need on the force.
Yeah.
You ever
That was,
seen
of course,
Grady
that was.
Judd, Nils?
No.
You haven't seen Grady? Oh, we have the best sheriff. He's America's sheriff. And he loves getting child predators. He does these task forces, and when he busts like 50 of them or whatever, he literally holds a press conference and he has pictures of every single one, and he holds them up and he says, "This is this dude's name, this is where he worked, and this is what he did." And we love him. We always watch his press conferences. So I'm gonna have to have you come on,
Grady?
because there's actually he just did a press conference the other day and he did a big predator bust. So it's Sheriff
Wait.
Grady Judd, Polk
Was
County, Florida.
was he the one that he was either part of or led the Disney World case on the child predators there
Yes,
last year or the
yes,
year before? Okay, I did see
absolutely.
that.
That
That's
would be him.
older
He does
man,
them all
clean
the time.
shaven.
Yeah, I'll show you what he looks like. He does them all the time. He's our hero. Like, we wish that all the sheriffs would model after Grady Judd, because he's so transparent, and this is 3 days
Before
ago
that,
here.
on September the 19th to the 25th, for 7 days, we did 2 operations at the same time. One was a human trafficking operation that resulted in 219 arrests, and you covered that in the media. The
219?
other that was the sexual predator operation that resulted in 6 arrests. These 6 people here. I want you to get a good look at these folks, because these are
I
people
love when he does that.
that thought they were going to come have sex with children. They came to a strange undercover location thinking that they were going to encounter a 13 or a 14 or a 15-year-old child.
Sick.
If it weren't for the outstanding work of
This is what he does, though.
stepmom
Check
arrangement,
it. This is
the
great.
result of a bad stepmom operation. That's right. He was going to pay stepmom to have sex with a 15-year-old. I'd like to underscore that this program that he worked for is a contractor or a vendor, not the school employees, but
He was working at a
contracted
school.
service to the Orange County School System.
Fucking sicko.
So he thought he was going to meet this
Mhm.
15-year-old little girl and have sex because the bad stepmom arranged it. He was going to pay for it. He said that, "I'm interested, but is she the only girl you have?" Did you hear
what
what
the
I said? Did you hear what I said? He wanted to know if this was the only girl that they had. And then Our suspect, Douglas, asked the stepmom, are you her pimp? The child's 15 years of age.
Mm.
He traveled to this location. He was also charged with human trafficking as well. Oh, he was wearing a DARE t-shirt.
Oh,
For
my.
those of you who are not familiar, DARE is a program that's taught to teach children how to be safe and to resist drugs.
Yes.
He was wearing that t-shirt.
Nice.
He's currently in our jail. He said, my life's over. Kinda. We plan to send you to prison for a very, very long time. What you did was a serious felony. But because of the work of our detectives, and I brag on them because they're simply the very best.
Well, I won't play that whole thing, but that's Grady Judd, and we love him. And we love how he
That's
puts these predators on blast because
yes.
that needs to be done.
That's who America needs to lead the Department of Justice, is that guy right there.
I agree. He won't hesitate to put them on blast and put them away. And, you know, there's a new law that just passed in Florida. I think it was October 1st, that if you rape a child in Florida, you can get the death penalty.
Good. Yeah, they at the least need to be castrated. That's my view.
I mean, I was so happy to hear that because we have gone through some stages in our society. When you look back in history and, you know, you look back at like Utah, like all this stuff that's coming out of Utah now with these Mormons and the Ruby Frankie and these, I don't know if you followed that, these bloggers and, but it's coming out now that these laws, like there was a law in Utah up until maybe 20 years ago, or maybe even less, that the statute of limitations, now listen to this, tell me if this this had to have been done on purpose. The statute of limitations for rape for an adult was 50 years. The statute of limitation for rape for a child was 3. Or no, it was 8. It was 8. So if that child or something like that, what was it, Potato? It was 8 but it was something really stupid, like a few years, like 5 years or something like that. And if the kid doesn't report it by that time, that person can never get in trouble. Well, that was where the laws were at that time. Now they've changed them. But one of the victims of the Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt, one of the husbands of one of these wives that got counseling from Jody, is the one, his dad changed it because he was molested at Boy Scout camp in Utah as a little boy. And then he didn't tell his dad until he was older and the statute of limitations was up. And they were like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Because he knew exactly who it was. It was his Boy Scout leader. So then his dad actually fought and went to Congress and all this stuff to get that law changed. But why on God's green earth would we ever have a law where rape on an adult, that the statute of limitations outweighs that of a child?
Yes. And look how many have come forward in the past few years, especially female children that have had stuff happen to them. And they were just brave enough to come out and speak out about it in their 20s or 30s. You know,
Yeah,
and a
and
lot
it's
of
like it
people
was
say,
done
well,
on
why don't they say something when it happens? And they don't understand that every time that they revisit that memory, it's worse and worse. It gets suppressed more and more. And, you know, who would want to remember something like that? You know,
No, you
after an
wouldn't.
essay.
You wouldn't. But to have this guy
And
like tell his dad, and his dad like stuck up for him and went and got the law changed, I thought that was a pretty amazing story. But on the other hand, I was sickened that it almost seems like that law was put into place for predators to get away with it. Because if the statute of limitation was like 5 years, if you molest a child at 5, by 10 years old, they can't report it after that. That is set up for predators, not for the children, not for the predators.
yes.
I'm with you, Casey, and so is Nils.
Yes.
But you know
And
what?
it's
I don't
amazing
know.
too.
Would
100
that
years
solve-
ago, if you stole a horse, if you were a horse thief, that was capital punishment. You were hung. And
Of
in
course.
America, yeah, if you were a horse thief, you were hung. But all of these car thieves and things like that, they have gotten so lax in punishment. And I understand the U.S. Constitution, I believe it's the Fourth Amendment, for cruel and unusual punishment, but it justifies the means, of what they're doing to people. They need to bring back harsher punishments. I believe they need to bring, especially in America, they need to bring back hangings, public hangings. Saturday at noon,
You
round them
agree with
all
the
up.
firing? So you agree with the firing squad? Do you agree with
Mhm.
that type of capital punishment?
Mhm.
Did you hear they just brought that back in Idaho? They can use a firing
Re-
squad.
Really?
Yeah, what's really crazy is that after Brian Koberger was arrested for the University of Idaho murders, they came out and said, "Hey, we've been having a hard time getting our hands on this chemical for the lethal injections. So if we can't get our hands on that chemical, we now have the right to use a firing squad." So they passed it. And everybody was like, "Whoa, what are we doing? Going backwards?" But how do you feel about the
Oh,
guys that pulled the trigger on the firing squad? How is that going to affect them? We're so sensitive this day and age about trauma and things like
that's
that.
true. Yeah, one
I thought about
hangman
that part
and
of it.
a bunch of criminals.
Isn't that crazy? They just stand, they'd
Yeah.
go in they'd stand around and just watch them do it. That was
Mhm.
justice, right?
Yes, and it let other people know, younger people that were there, hey, this is the consequence. And that's part of the reason why society is so selfish, greedy, uh, because they see leaders that aren't held accountable for their actions.
Mhm.
For an example, the Tim Ferritter case yesterday,
Yeah.
he wasn't sad because of what he did to Ronan. He was sad because he was held accountable for his actions. That's
Mhm.
when everyone saw that whole facial demeanor change and it clicked in his head.
Yep. When he was
That was
detained, right? At the end.
Yeah, yep, that was the punch
Mhm.
to the gut. And as a narcissist, when he realized that, it was, hey, this is happening to me. The hell with what happened to Ronan. In his mind, he didn't care.
Mm-mm.
That's why he was convicted anyways.
Yeah, he sat there stone faced watching all these videos. Didn't for like even a moment give like any kind of iota that he felt regret or
No remorse.
resentment for what he did. None.
No
None.
remorse. And
I still think
and
he thinks he did the right thing, that he wasn't wrong.
mhm, I agree with that statement. Yeah, because and everybody saw it. He wasn't care. Oh, that poor kid. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. I fucked up. It's what's going to happen to me now.
Look at Texas Ranger Nils on the courthouse
Yes,
square.
yes. I've said that Saturday at noon, every Saturday at noon on the courthouse square. Every
And they didn't
courthouse has a
wait.
small lawn.
And they didn't
I was,
wait years and years and years, right? Did they take care of justice pretty much right away? Like,
yeah, it was a quick trial, and then you knew what was going to happen, and either the next morning or 2 days later, you were hung
damn.
after the sentencing. But
Yeah, now we
there's
pussyfoot.
yeah, and they're saying, oh well, that's not that's against human rights and stuff like that, and it's like the way I
Mm.
understood it, as soon as you're a criminal, you lost your rights. That's why
Mhm.
felons can't vote, you know, and want to keep
Right.
them
Like,
in a concrete box for the rest of their life.
mhm. And
No,
it's a joke. They say our prisons are rehabilitations. They don't No one gets rehabilitated in prison.
no, no. Prisons in America now are colleges for criminals. Would I wear the executioner hood? Damn right. Um, I will say, in my belief, that you're judged by the gods, which is why they outlawed and banished people. Um, but I think I would. There's no hate in it. It's just justice.
Yeah, Opa says now you can spend 15 plus years on death row.
Yeah, and since there's so
Most of
many
them die on death
privatized
row.
And since there's so many privatized prisons these days, they're making money off of prisoners. Which is why there's such a higher incarceration rate than the past 10 years. And guess who one of the biggest investors and private
God, do I
prisons
want to know?
is?
Who?
Yes, Merrick,
Really?
Garland Merrick. Yeah.
The drug company?
Mm-mm.
Who's Merrick?
The head of the U.S. Department of Justice, Merrick Garland or Garland Merrick. Yeah.
You know what else they're doing? The Bureau of Prisons here. I don't know if they're doing this in other states, but they're taking land. Like I live in a pretty populated area, like near St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And, few and far between, there's land that has nothing on it but, Florida trees and brush and all that stuff, like those palms, and you can't see in there. It's like a canopy. But now they're putting sex offenders in those woods with tents and canopies where they have like a makeshift kitchen. And when they get out of jail, instead of going to a halfway house because they don't have them, that's where they're sending them. That's their halfway house.
They need to drop them in the blades.
And they're literally just living out there. And so a YouTuber went out there, JLR went out there to the site and talked to these guys that are living out there. And they told him, this is where they send us. So he found out that land was owned by the department or the Bureau of Prisons, Florida Bureau of Prisons. And that's where they're housing their inmates that are released from prison on sex charges for children. And they have to have them so far away from schools, churches, bus stops, and, heavily populated area. Good luck with that. So they find these scarce pieces of land right off roadways, like secondary highway roads. And you wouldn't even know they're there. You wouldn't even know.
Wow.
Petrifying.
Wow. Australia had a really good rehabilitation program at the beginning of the 20th century. And there was such a high crime rate, and there was a low law enforcement population. So they started taking the prisoners and offering them jobs as law enforcement officers. And who else to know the mind of a criminal better than a criminal? And it worked. It worked. Their crime rate dropped rapidly. I don't know if that'd work in America today, but that was actually a pretty good idea.
Well, it is. And, it's kind of like going on the same thing like that. John McAfee said, the government needs to hire hackers to secure our computer systems in America, because they're the ones
doing that,
they're the ones that know how to ward it off.
Each department in the federal government has their own IT security division. In U.S. Department of Homeland Security, we had what was called CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. I think they changed the name of it since then. That was in 2015 or 2016. And that's what they started doing, is recruiting hackers. The FBI was actually the first ones to make that call to recruit hackers into these programs. And they were basically government sanctioned. Now, there's a specific law in America. Anybody can be a hacker. And it is actually legal to hack as long as it's not anybody inside the U.S. territory, the continental 48 states, any state or U.S. territories or provinces. So you could legally hack someone from another country and be protected by U.S. law. They actually have books and programs and stuff out on their website.
Wow.
About it, yeah. That teach you how to become a hacker. And that's part of their recruiting tools the FBI has.
Wow. Well, I think, you hire the hackers, they know they're the ones that are going to be able to figure the things out, because you put these old ass people like we have in government right now, and they don't even know what a terabyte is. But check this out, Nils. This is JLR's article. This is the tent camp that I was telling you about. He went out there, and this is where they're living. This is their halfway house. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? his videos, you gotta love it. But these are these are a list of sex offenders living at the campsite with their charges. Oh man.
You basically took sex offenders and turned them into homeless people in the woods.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much.
As it's going to look like Lord of the Flies shit done in South Florida.
Look at this, Nils. Failing to register as a sex offender, photo, pictures showing sexual performance by a child, 10 counts. And this dude's living in the wood. Look at, he did it in 97 and he did it again in 2016. These
are
people
sick
don't
people.
get better. And they're living in the woods by me. Like, what the heck? Lewd, lavicious, whatever that word is, child under 16. Here's another one. Traveling to meet minor to commit unlawful sexual offense. Transient, lives on Frontage Road in Clearwater.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Sexual battery, coerced child by adult, failing to register. So they just throw these guys out on the street.
You know how in Dunedin, where they have that thing every year that everybody jumps in the lagoon?
Yes, yes.
So they need to do that with them, but wearing concrete shoes.
Mm-hmm. Weigh their asses down. Look at this one, under 16. Oh my god. Under 12.
People make.
Oh, this is disturbing. 12 to 15 years old.
They're a child. How can someone do something? They're a child.
How can they let them just walk the streets? Under 12.
Tarpon Springs. Thank you, Robin. Yep, Tarpon Springs. Very beautiful. I loved going on the boats, watching the sponge divers.
The sponge docks.
Yep.
Yeah, all these are under 12. All these are kid predators. I got to get the hell out of Florida. This is bananas.
See, a lot of people make fun of in other parts of America where I live. It's low population density, and 80% forest and mountains. And it's beautiful. Very low crime rate. In the bigger cities, of course, you're going to have in larger urban areas. But here, we went to the store about 20 kilometers away yesterday. It's about 20, 30 miles. We were gone from the house for about 2.5 hours and never had to lock our doors.
That's how I grew up too, in a small town in Michigan. My dad never locked the door. I mean, at night he did, but during the day, always open. Whether we were at work, school, whatever, our door was always open. Nils, this guy produced, directed, and promoted sexual performance by a child. And he's out.
So he did CP videos.
Yes. Another one under 12. All of these are child, under 12, under 16. Another under 12. Molestation. Sexual battery victim drugged. These are scary. These are dangerous people. What is this?
Yeah, they need to drop them off. In Antarctica with a t-shirt, a pair of shorts, and sandals.
And some weighted sandals. Yeah, those are the ones living in those
Antarctica. Freeze to
and
death.
JLR walked out there to talk to him. He's not scared. This guy says probation put us here. They look for anywhere to put us. We tried for a motel or halfway house, but we were denied. There's no place to put us, even a trailer somewhere, with roommates, anything.
I need to check his channel out because after watching him yesterday,
you're sold.
I like him. He has zero fear. I like him.
Zero. He doesn't give a shit. Let me tell you that.
Oh, Is that a map of the facility or whatever in the forest? Or is that
Yes.
just where
Yep. So this is a main road. This Bryan Dairy Road is a very busy road. And then you have 19, which is like kind of like a not a highway, but like a secondary highway. Very
yeah.
busy intersection right here.
I've
And
been up
that's where
19
they
and
are.
19A.
Right off 19. Crazy.
So
And look
funny
at there's
story.
another encampment up here north of there too at the top.
So people here are very respectful, very polite, and stuff like that. So when we went down there, when my grandparents had their winter snowbird home there,
Mhm.
um, we went to Countryside Mall, and my wife and I were still dating in high school, so we went down there
Oh wow.
one year, and I had to explain to her. I said, "Okay, this is different than where we grew up at, where we live now, and it's a little bit more rough and Clearwater." And so, Countryside Mall, Christmas time. We were going around looking for a parking spot. I was going to show her the ice rink and everything inside. And these two old men got out. One guy cut another one off for a parking spot. And so they got out and they're like 70 years old and just started beating the shit out of each other. And my wife was like, "Holy shit." I said, "Yeah, yeah, this is Clearwater. This is what it's like at Christmas time." So,
Yeah. And
so
imagine
we just drove around them.
back then it was more innocent. Now you should see it. It's crazy. It's crazy
No,
here.
yeah, it
I'm
was
not kidding.
the late 90s. Late 90s, yeah.
Yeah. It's changed. It's changed even since 2019 when I moved down here. It's not the same. It's sad.
Yeah, so she was like, "Fuck Florida." And I was like, "Yeah, we won't move to
I
Florida.
don't
No,
blame her. I don't blame her.
that ain't gonna happen."
I've been tossing around the idea of making a move myself. I really it sounds appealing to me to live out in nowhere now. Whereas before when I had kids and stuff, I always wanted all the amenities. It just was convenient. I was like, "Oh, I want all the restaurants and I want all the stores and I want everything near me." Now I'm like, "No. I don't even want to go to those stores." So feel like I don't know if it's age or just, the world as we know it now that has changed.
It's
But
always changing.
it is. But I don't know if it's me that's changed or my outlook on things. But I would love to, like when you said I live in the middle of nowhere, sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah,
Quiet. I
it's
want to hear
peaceful here.
crickets. I want to hear crickets at night again. I don't hear crickets. You know what I hear? I hear either the cars in the distance or sirens all night long.
Yep,
All night
yep.
long sirens.
That's city life.
Mhm. And I
Can't remember
wasn't
if it
raised
was
like that.
Emily
Yeah, Emily,
or,
our Miss Emily Elizabeth.
or Robin asked a question this probably an hour ago about how we discipline our children.
Oh, interesting.
Um, since we were kind of getting on that to how we were raised and things changing. So our mindset, mine and my wife's was, and it's just been like this in our family. You can't raise your children how the same way that you were raised because it's a different time. So you have to be more adaptable. You constantly have to be progressive in parenting.
Because if you don't, you're gonna connect with them.
Yes,
You'll be out
yes.
of touch.
And the one thing that's really bothered me with parenting these days, because I think we have great children. I really do, and they're great kids. Never been in jail, never used like heroin or cocaine or anything like that, or meth or anything. Is you have to love your children for who they are, not for who you want them to be. That's a big principle in parenting.
Tree frogs are cute. I have a fear of frogs. I don't like frogs.
Really?
Toads. I like the tree frogs. They're cute. Like they go on our windows. And they like suction cup up there, and they're little,
Mhm.
but we have these big fat toads, and whenever it rains, they just sit there. Well, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. I went to go take a shower one day. I was telling this story on my live that day. I opened the shower curtain or no, I was in the shower and there was a freaking toad in there. And I had to like jump out and it was a mess, you know. So I was like telling everybody how I had a toad in the shower with me and it freaked me out and I couldn't find it. So it hid. I never did find it. But I was trying to catch it. It was, you know. But the big fat toads they're scary.
The big
They
fat,
stare at
like
Mhm.
the rough toads.
Yeah, like the warty toads. Bumpy
Yeah,
toads.
with the spiny backs and spots and
Yeah, and
such.
like you get near them and you think they're gonna jump, and then you're like stomping your foot next to them, and they just sit there and look at you, and it's like, damn, go! Hop. You're supposed to hop when I do that. You're not supposed to sit there. Oh, they're just so gross. It's like it gives me the heebs. I can't do it. But the little tree frogs are adorable. I don't mind those. Cane toads. Those are another toad we have down here. Those
Oh,
are
okay.
deadly. If your pet licks them, it can kill them.
Yeah, I remember the tree frogs. They'd like stick to your window. It just like
Yeah, they're like
crawl up. Spider-Man.
they're super cute. They're like the Rainforest Cafe tree frogs. They're cute.
What were
But
the
anyway,
names of the little lizards?
oh the geckos.
I
Little
can't remember if it's
geckos.
not this. Yeah, you used to take them, and if you squeeze the side of their face, they'll open up their jaws, and you could stick it and wear them as earrings.
Yeah. And they lose, you know what else happens to them? They lose their tail and they still like it grows back.
Yeah, yeah.
My cat attacks those little lizards. I feel so bad. She hunts them out there.
Oh,
And I'll
they're
find them
cute.
dead. I'm like, stop. We got so many of those. Casey remembers my toad day. That was bad. The bearded dragons, we do have those. Those are big. We have iguanas. My son had an iguana living under his shed. And that thing was big.
Yeah, I had a bearded dragon that I gave to a friend before I moved here. 3 years later, he called and said, "Hey, he died." His name is Spawn, and
Spawn.
I was yeah, and I got so mad. And I was like, "Man, what did you do to him?" And then I found out that bearded dragons only live like 3 or 4 years. They don't live
And
very
then they
long.
die.
Yeah.
Chameleons. I don't know if we have those. But ever since the storm came through, that hurricane we had, there's flamingos here. And they said that they came from somewhere else. I don't know where they came from. But yeah, there was flamingos on the beach. And they're like, oh, there's flamingos on our beaches. I'm like, I thought Florida was supposed to have flamingos anyways. Isn't that our big thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Chameleons bite or iguanas bite and don't let go. Yikes. Wolf spiders.
Yeah, especially the wild iguanas down in the Caribbean. There's like kids that would try to feed them little strawberries and fruits and
And they just
get
latch
bit
on.
on the finger. Yeah, so I tell them, get a stick and put it on the stick and then feed them that way because they will bite you.
My uncle had one that bit him. They had to cut its head off. Oh my God, that's horrible. We had
But
two
yeah,
more that died at 10 years old.
you have to be careful in South Florida and especially in parts of the Caribbean because they sleep or they'll rest in the trees to cool off. And so you'll be walking, next thing you know, an iguana falls on your shoulder.
Frog legs. I can't even believe I pinned that. I was pinning it without thinking. Meg says, sorry I brought up frogs. It's okay. Thank you, Paul. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Emily's like, I'm triggered. Yeah, I am. I'm fucking triggered. But anyhow, we've been going for 3 hours. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has. Thank you for coming on. It was fun yet again. I'd love to have you come on and we can talk Keegan Kline again.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I can't wait to see the updates by the end of the month. And thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. And if I don't talk to you before then, I hope you have a great holiday. I don't know how to say it. Tell me how to say it again.
We'll say alpha bloat.
Alpha bloat?
Alpha.
What is it?
Alpha bloat. Alpha bloat. Yeah.
Alpha bloat, where you get bloated from all the mead and all the good food in the company.
Bloat means blood. So it's like Here, I'll type it in chat.
Alpha.
Alpha bloat. It's a sacrifice to the elves. So, but bloat
Alpha
means blood. So yeah. So it's basically a sacrifice to the elves. And we also call it Veternater, which is winter nights.
That's what I was looking for. I like that better. Say it again.
Veternater. There we go.
See, I like that one. I want to celebrate
Veternater.
Veternater.
Yeah.
Veternater. That sounds German, kind of.
Yeah. It's Old Norse, Swedish, Norwegian, Danish. They all hail from the old Germanic language, which is why they sound similar. Can I link my channel? Somebody just threw up a link, I believe.
Yeah, they'll put it up again. They've been scrolling it. Women Are Sacred says in Miami they were doing yoga at a park and this iguana dropped out of the tree and nailed a guy. Look it up. We'll have to do that as our going out video. Miami. Let's see if I can find it. Iguana yoga. Let's see if we can find it. Video. Iguana bite ruins woman's yoga pose. What? All right. This is going to be our going out video. We always do something a little more lighthearted because we talk about such heavy topics. So we always try to laugh on our way out. Hopefully she didn't get really badly hurt because I wouldn't want to laugh at that. But here we go.
I don't think I've ever.
Oh, wait. What happened? Here we go. Oh, that's not the one. It didn't fall out of a tree. I don't know. I can't find it.
I saw the one with the boardwalk. Can you imagine if they were all frogs?
Oh, God, no. No frogs. I don't see that. You would think it would be on here.
Or play JLR's video again.
I know we could. What's this?
Hey, walk that off. Walk that off. I'm glad I got it on my flip phone, but I know he hurt. Walk it off. Only in Florida, boy. Only in Florida. What's going on out here?
What?
Hey, walk that off. Walk that off.
Walk it off.
I'm glad I got it on my flip phone, but I know he hurt. Walk it off.
No, he hurt.
Only in Florida, boy. Only in Florida. What's going on out here? Hey, walk that off.
Is that what you do? You just fall?
Yeah, he fell out of the tree. Florida tree rats.
And they just are they dead? Or is it when it's cold? No, I guess this is a thing.
Our local green invasive species are freezing up. The cold weather in South Florida stirring up the perfect recipe for iguanas to fall from the sky. Okay, maybe the trees, but still, watch your head.
We're standing right beside a pond. There's some trees and brush in this area as well. This is a perfect paradise for iguanas, but not today. These cold temperatures are not treating them well.
Not
Let me show you
today.
this pair I found at the base of this tree. I call them husband and wife. Their bodies are cold stunned. I'll pick them up so you can take a closer look. You might even notice that their eyes are open. They're alive, just not able to move. When the temps get below 50, iguanas are sluggish. When they get below 45, that's when they go into that cold stunned state. How much they weigh also plays a factor. The skinny ones freeze first, but those 20-pounders that look like small dogs, they're likely to fight through the freeze.
Now, Florida Wildlife Conservation.
Whoa, that's weird. I've never seen that. Lizzie.
They just
Lizzie's like,
catatonic and turn into a hot dog and fall out of a tree.
with their eyes open. I've never seen an iguana fall out of a tree, but I want to now. I do feel when I get cold, I'm like an iguana. I don't want to move. She's so right.
So how are you? Can you imagine telling people about that? How's your winters in Florida? Well, it's raining iguanas right now.
Yeah. It's raining iguanas. Can you imagine being in downward dog and bam, an iguana takes you? Downward dog. No, I can't. Oh my gosh.
Driving
guys
through the
crack
park and
me
it just
up.
land on your hood.
Oh man. Well, thanks for the
Oh yeah,
iguana. That was a good going out. Well, thank you
that
again,
was good.
Nils. It was a pleasure. Always good to
Thank
talk to
you
you.
and your viewers, and thank you too. You guys are great.
Yeah,
I love it here.
absolutely. Until next time. All
Yes,
right,
until next time.
guys. We are
All.
out. Yes. Own. Right? Own. It's raining iguanas.
Skål. Skål.
Skål. Skål. I forget.
Skål. It's
Skål
okay.
and
It's new.
happy holidays. Downward.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be the running joke, the downward dog. The downward dog. Thank you, Potato. Thank you, all the moderators that were here. And thank you
Yeah.
guys for watching. We appreciate you. Well, Nils, sayonara, skull, goodbye. You have a good night and a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.
Yes. And you all have an awesome week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nils. Angie B, thank you for being here. Everybody hit that like button. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to you. You guys are all silly. Make sure you subscribe to Nils. We've got the link in the chat. And Monday Live, we're going to have Dimitri on, and we're going to be talking about some lawyer topics. So bring your lawyer questions about any cases that we're following. If you don't understand something or you're wondering why they did something, defense lawyer, D-Shack Law, our friend Dimitri is going to be with me on Monday. So I will see you guys then. If I don't see you guys sooner than that, make sure that you are subscribed though, because if I drop any videos, you want to get that notification. So let's dance it out without further ado. I know this is why you guys come. And by the way, we have a very special birthday on Monday. Michelle, her birthday is Monday. Shh, you didn't hear it from me. But you guys, dance it out, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to friends, but don't wanna face the fact that I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on Coke and Jack. Calling my phone when you feel alone, but I'll never call you back. 'Cause I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for that. I don't give a damn, I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You're mad at me for not giving you comfort. You say that I'm away so much, and now you don't feel the way you felt when we were younger. But that's okay for me, 'cause